And we're back. And Stephanie, no, Bronny James may be your favorite player, but he's my least favorite player. If that would be closer to that. So we can go ahead right there. But thank you so much for joining us at the Lakers Fast Break. It is Gerald Glassford, whose least favorite player is Bronny James, along with Joe Soro. Want to go ahead and mention, please like and subscribe. We're going to go ahead and make sure we got lots for you for tonight. Thoughts on the Super Bowl, and also as well, of course, our thoughts on the NBA trade deadline. And then tomorrow, we're going to have our NBA trade deadline special. We're going to go ahead and make sure that we've got you covered for that. It is 9 a.m. Pacific to 1 p.m. Pacific, right there for you, covering the latest news and notes on the NBA trade deadline. So, yes, I want to go ahead and make sure you guys are covered, and we're trying to do the best we can for you. And again, if you guys go at me, remember who runs the channel. Indeed. But of course, it is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again. Lots of news to talk about. I had a great conversation earlier with Mike Anguano of him covering the Cavs and the Pistons. Go ahead and check out my conversation earlier today. Although something did not actually ring true from our conversation. We thought once the game started that there would not be any action really going on. But unfortunately for the league, chaos still ensued as once turned down, Golden State finally did get its man that they wanted, even though it initially was rebuffed. It was Jimmy Butler, I guess because he couldn't find another home. Couldn't find it in Phoenix, couldn't find it anywhere else. He did get traded to the Golden State Warriors for a package that includes Anthony Wiggins, PJ Tucker, Dennis Schroeder goes to Utah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, going over to Miami, and a 3-team trade. It wasn't as much as a 5-team trade, but it looks like it ended up just being a 3-team trade. Right now, the New York Knicks are trading center Jericho Sims as part of the Kuzma Chris Middleton deal. So he is added into that as far as the New York Knicks are concerned. So yes, DeLon Wright going to New York Knicks as well in the deal. So yes, all this stuff, this peripheral stuff is going on. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the NBA trade deadline, what the Lakers are doing, the Luka trade, mix in some Super Bowl thoughts as well. And we're going to go ahead and get you started here with the man that's behind Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. It is, of course, Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. I'm looking forward to bringing on other people. Zach's going to come on a little bit later. Looking forward to getting also as well. Hopefully, Xbox will join us a little bit later on. I'm going to try and get him to come on after maybe I know he's probably working, but I'm trying to get him to come on anyways. Chris Lardieri from Inside Sports Fantasy Football is going to join us, but I'm excited, man. Still work yet to be done for the Lakers. But what are your thoughts on this Jimmy Butler trade? He finally got his way out of Miami.
We sabotaged it enough to get out of where he was. And Miami had no choice but to take what they could get. And it's sad that he got rewarded with an extension. That's how pathetic Golden State was in this situation. Why would you reward a malcontent? This is the 4th time he's done this, and he got rewarded with an extension. It's too bad because the NBA looked like they were kind of getting back to having the owners and management get a little bit of control here, and then Jimmy Butler kind of brought it back down to earth a little bit. Golden State is so desperate for talent, they had to do this. So whoever his agent was probably pushed this hard and convinced Golden State to give him the extension and say, it's either that or you guys got to continue to deal with Wiggins and Kyle and Schroeder and all those guys who aren't going to produce anything for you. You might have a slightly better chance, but a better chance to make something work here. I heard Big Three again in Golden State. I started laughing. I go, there hasn't been a Big Three there really hasn't been a Big Three in San Francisco since 2019. Draymond is not a Big Three anymore. He's been terrible really since 2020, 2021 for sure. I'm curious to see if Golden State will do something with him, but who's going to want him? is he's making way too much money, and I think them signing him really was the beginning of one of their big mistakes and not kind of pushing over this new rebuild. Jimmy Butler is going to probably ruffle feathers over there, and if Draymond is still there, there might be some issues there. So San Francisco's going to have to really, and they can say whatever they want. Oh, it'll be fine. We got Draymond's blessing. Jimmy said he'll be cool. Blah blah blah. That's not going to fly when something happens in practice, and all of a sudden they're at each other's necks. I actually want that to happen, by the way. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, looking at it from their perspective, I don't know if that's a good idea to have both those guys on the same team, especially with both of them declining the way they are. I don't see them as a threat. I don't see them doing much, to be honest with you. Maybe a little bit better, but not by much.
Also here today is Good Man Indeed. It is one half of the great combo, Lardieri at Domination Sports Nation. It is my good friend and longtime co-host of Inside Sports Fantasy Football. It is Chris Lardieri. Chris, good to have you here. Before we hear your thoughts on the Super Bowl, and I know we have you here only for a limited amount of time, as per your request just today, I just wanted to make sure we had one last conversation, as we always do when we close out our seasons at Inside Sports Fantasy Football. But before we get into Super Bowl talk, where were you when the Luka trade went down, my friend?
So we were on the 15 freeway coming back visiting my daughter who had a college water polo tournament down in San Diego, and simultaneously Dom and I like either yelled or grunted or groaned and scared both my wife and her friend. They thought someone died, but yeah, we got the alert at the same time. I think we were somewhere in the Temecula area. I don't remember where exactly, but
Oh,
we
you
were
were near
headed.
Joe.
Yeah, so we were headed to the hat. We weren't quite there yet. So yeah, that almost caused the car to swerve. But yeah, it's like I remember as a kid with the day Wayne Gretzky got traded. I thought it was a joke.
I'll tell you what, though, if your car didn't swerve, I'm pretty sure Mark Cuban's did when he first found out that Nico Harrison was going to do that. Your thoughts, real quick, on Luca heading to the Lakers? I mean, obviously, it is probably the biggest surprise trade of all time in the NBA. But how do you feel as far as him going to Lakers and what this does for the Lakers?
I mean, it's great for the Lakers. They've got no succession issues now. The Luca will be the man when LeBron inevitably either works his way out of LA or retires outright, which I don't know what'll happen first. So I think it's good for them. What's a head scratcher is let's say you're the Mavericks and whether new ownership dictated this because they weren't going to sign him to the Supermax or they're just tired with his act and supposedly his ballooning weight. I don't know. Like when I inevitably sell my house, I don't just go and call one person up and say a realtor and say, "Hey, can your client come look at it?" And then I'm going to sell it. Like it doesn't appear to me that there was any sort of market or shopping around or whatever. Maybe because they kept this hush hush hush. Maybe because Harrison and Palenka have had a relationship going back to when Palenka was Kobe's agent and he was with Nike. I don't know, but that's the head scratcher to me. If you are under orders to trade him, you've got to get more than that. I mean, I thought there'd be more picks. Not that there are a lot of players that could have been exchanged, but I'll bring it back to my Knicks. I'm happy they got Mikal Bridges, but they gave up a ton of picks to get him. So how does that equate in a just a mega deal like this? I'll never figure it out.
Joe, I want to ask you, with the Golden State trade, you're being asked in the chat, and I'll ask this of Chris as well. What do you think this will do for Golden State? He did sign the extension, like you talked about. I'm just it's funny because Windhorse has a whole bunch of egg all over his face because he had reported just 2 days ago that Jimmy was not interested in signing a deal with the Warriors, but I guess it's because of the fact that they're in such need of each other. He's in need of a new home, and they're in need of any kind of talent whatsoever. They finally found a marriage that they could work on. But with that being the case, Joe, how much really can you expect with Curry turning 37 soon and Jimmy Butler, a 35-year-old, signing that extension? What do we realistically think that the Warriors can do this season?
Right now, the Warriors are sitting in the 10th spot. So if the playoffs started today, they'd be in the play-in. Dallas is hovering below them, and San Antonio got better with De'Aaron Fox coming. I'm going to say they're going to stay at the 10. I'm going to say they'll stay at the 10. And then, well, you know what? I think they're not going to make it. I think they're going to be 11 or 12. Probably 11 ahead of Sacramento. I'm gonna say that San Antonio and Dallas are gonna switch between Sacramento and Golden State, and Golden State won't make the play-in.
Okay.
Somebody has to miss. Somebody has to
Yes.
miss, and I trust that Dallas will play better, and I trust that Dallas will play better, and definitely San Antonio is going to play better. At this point, I wish you'd asked me that question, JY, in about 16 hours. I've been asked about what the Lakers are going to do here the rest of the way. I can't tell you guys until I see what happens after 12:01 tomorrow.
Well, Shia said you said that that the Lakers can go 4-0 and against Denver in the series. I don't recall saying that. You saying that. It's funny because now all these things that we supposedly said, which are blatant lies, in the past 72 hours, seem to be coming out quite a bit, Joe.
I think someone is opening up accounts and messing with us.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be the same guy.
Oh, there you go.
Where is
All
it?
right.
What kind of name is that? Shaith?
Shiath Alexandras.
Shaith, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever.
I'll just whatever. Indeed, I hear you, but it's just some stupid stuff being said about us online again. Maybe because again we now have a higher profile ever since this trade went through, along with the Lakers. But Chris, before we get into just your thoughts on the Super Bowl,
I never said we would sweep Denver 4-0. I said Denver now has to worry about Luka because Luka plays against Denver very well. I never said they'd sweep them 4-0. That's a blatant lie.
yes.
Yeah, you are lying because I never said it, and I know what I said.
Yes, and it's actually backed up by everything on here on the internet.
That's the problem. See, we have stuff that's stored and you can actually listen to. So yeah, that never happened.
Called proof.
If you have proof, bring it. No, I never said 4-1. I never said 4-2. I never used any numbers. All I said was Luka is going to play. I'm not worried about Denver now with Luka as much as I was before.
Now it goes from 4-1 to 4-2. So yeah, timestamp it. If you think you come with that stuff, timestamp it to a date to when he actually said it, and then there you go. But otherwise, don't bring that garbage here. I want to go ahead and say this right now again with Luka and LeBron, Chris. You know, I know that they don't have a great roster around them yet. I know that there's still some tweaking. Hopefully, that Rob Pelinka will be doing sooner rather than later. But even if it's later, still, this team in any series cannot be overlooked because the fact is they do have LeBron and Luka, and if either or both get hot in a series, they can compete. I didn't say they can beat. I said they can compete in a 7-game playoff series with anyone.
Yeah, they can. They can get into a shootout, and that's the way they're going to have to win because their weakness is on the defensive side of the ball. And as we know, in the starting in late April, anything can happen. So I wouldn't put anything past them. And let's say even they don't, they go one and done. I think they're well positioned going forward. And from a business perspective, you've got buzz back in LA with Luca there, and that sells tickets, that gets people interested again. And this is a Dodger Lakers town, and the Lakers will always be relevant. And case in point, getting back to the Butler trade, Dom couldn't join us tonight, but he is not happy from a Golden State perspective. We happened to be at the San Diego State Wyoming game Saturday evening, and we didn't realize until we got home and read up on the game that apparently Jimmy Butler, in his lifetime ban from Pat Riley's employ, was courtside at the game. We didn't see him; they didn't flash him on the scoreboard. But I'm glad he took some time off, got to watch some college basketball like we did, and got the trade he wanted.
So with that said, The NBA trade deadline is a few hours away, and absolutely, over the next couple of hours, we'll be talking about that. But I do want to mix in a little bit of the Super Bowl real quick. Joe, I'm on with you, my friend. You've been saying for quite some time, until you beat Mahomes, it's the Mahomes show, and Mahomes is going in right now as the favorite. Although, again, Saquon Barkley has been a machine in the playoffs when it matters the most. I think the game up on Sunday comes down to one factor: Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, if he goes off big and you get a good game from Saquon, they can compete with the Chiefs. But right now, it's hard to lean away from a team that's been as successful as it is in the big game as the Chiefs have been in recent years, Joe.
So in Super Bowl 57, their previous meeting, I remember the first drive that Philly had, and they scored a touchdown. It was the absolute perfect drive that you can have against a Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chief team. Why? For the obvious reasons of you keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Jalen Hurts would have won Super Bowl MVP had the Chiefs not won that. He played really well. Yes, he made one mistake, but that happens. But other than that, he was brilliant. And I don't know if Barkley can. I compare Patrick Mahomes to Novak Djokovic. You'll watch, if you've watched tennis, and I do watch tennis, believe it or not, it's a great sport. We've had the greatest three players I've ever seen in my life the last 15 to 20 years, and with Federer and Nadal. But Djokovic is, one of the great things about him is you can almost even say he was kind of like Floyd Mayweather. So Floyd Mayweather, you had Djokovic, and then you had Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter with these guys. If you score a lot of points, Patrick's going to start scoring a lot of points. If you control the ball and you score still, he'll still come back and score quicker. If it's a defensive game, he'll adjust to where he'll let the defense do its thing. This guy adjusts to anything. So and Josh Allen had the Chiefs. He had the Chiefs on that last drive. Now, the Chiefs, Spagnuolo called an unbelievable game again. At this point, it's easy to say that Spagnuolo is the best defensive coordinator of his generation, of the last 20 years. You could argue that now. This guy is the same guy that stopped the Patriots in 07. And you're going to have to do what Josh Allen didn't do on a last drive. That is, you got to somehow figure out a way to get to the end zone to win the game or kick a field goal, whatever, and make sure that clock says 0 when you score. Otherwise, I'm going to say that Patrick Mahomes is still going to find a way to win it. And until that happens, until he's beat, I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with him. And the Eagles have a really good shot at beating the Kansas City Chiefs, by the way. I'm not saying that they don't have a chance, but having Patrick Mahomes just, in my book, always gives you the edge. You can say the refs help them. You can say the league is rigged. You can say Vegas is involved. You can say all that stuff. That goes in one ear and out the other, because I heard the same garbage when Tom Brady and the Patriots were winning. Anytime you win too much, it's always some other entity. Just like this Luka Doncic trade. All of a sudden now that Adam Silver called Nico Harrison and said, hey, you need to make this trade and take one for the team. Come on, you guys, you stupid? What are you, stupid? Like, seriously, where do you guys make up this garbage? Seriously. You actually think that's what happens? If it is, then prove it. Prove it. You keep telling me there's aliens. Prove it. Prove it. I don't want to hear hearsay. I don't want to see an Unsolved Mysteries episode where somebody saw something walking on some bridge. I don't give a damn. Show me proof. And then maybe I'll believe you. Because there's still people out there making money saying that Earth is flat. And when you have that, anything is possible, folks. Just,
we found that out on Saturday.
We have a broad show today, so I thought I'd put in some extra stuff in there. So
Yes.
if everybody wins in that. A lot of diversity. I'm about diversity, guys. You know that.
There you go. Well, we found out on Saturday anything is possible. That's for sure. Yeah, they're man crushing over you and I. I don't know. I don't get it, but all right. Chris, before we bring you on, as far as I want to make sure everybody knows that according to Chris Haynes of The Athletic, New Orleans Pelicans are in advanced discussions to trade Brandon Ingram to the Raptors. So we'll see if that materializes. We've already seen trades partially fall through, so we'll see if it is executed. We'll get word on that. We'll keep updated for you throughout the evening. But let me ask you this, Chris. What are you looking for in the game on Sunday as far as in particular? Is there anything that in particular we should focus on? Because again, it's just so hard. Despite all the things that are on Philadelphia's side, strong defense, Barkley, Hurts when he's right is really good. I cannot take away from the feeling that it's so hard to just bet against Mahomes in a game like this.
Yeah, it is. Although I think, getting back to Joe's conspiracy theorist mention, the holding penalty the last time these two faced off in the Super Bowl, whether it was ticky tack or not, and to be called that late in the game. The Eagles had this game won at multiple points in the game, and they let it get away. So by no means do I think they'll be a pushover again. I think the X factor is going to be another defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio with the Eagles. I mean, that was probably Sirianni's best hire, and I think he's done wonders with a defense that had talent, but it's gotten even better with the addition of the likes of Cooper DeJean. And everyone's back on the Chiefs bandwagon, but let's remember this is a team that struggled to score points throughout the year. I know they kind of woke up in the playoffs, but the Bills had their shots to win that game, and yet again, McDermott with his questionable play calls and things like that. But that's a topic for another full show, I'm guessing. So I think if Vic Fangio can scheme something up to contain Mahomes, we'll see, because frankly, this Chiefs team doesn't have the wide receiver talent that it does in previous years.
That's
Travis
a good
Kelsey
point.
is a shell of himself, and I know they got Pacheco and Kareem Hunt as this two-headed monster, but I feel like Pacheco hasn't been 100% all season, and Hunt's got some wear on those tires. So I think that's the X factor right there. If it's going to be a shootout or a high-scoring game, Fangio's got to come up with a couple stops, and the team with the ball last will probably win.
So with that, again, it is of course the Lakers Fast Break. It is of course also Inside Sports Fantasy Football joining us as well with Chris Ardieri and Joe Soro. We're covering both the previewing the big game on Sunday, plus also the NBA trade deadline. Your thoughts, Joe? New Orleans sending Brandon Ingram to the Big North. Well, reporting right now, they're in advanced discussions per se, so nothing's been finalized as of yet. Brandon Ingram, I feel sorry for the kid in a way because look at where his career trajectory is on. It was on a high at one point in time, and now it seems to be petering off. He just has a game. I think it would have fit much better 20 years ago.
He just exists as an NBA player. He isn't. He's a he's a good NBA player. He can score. He can play a little defense. But he doesn't really have kind of the next level talent where you can rely on him or he can lead a team. Heck, I don't even know if he would be a good number two, honestly. A number three with really good twos. So if Brandon Ingram was on the Lakers with Luka and LeBron, that would work.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just not that guy. He's just never going to be that guy. He's going to go to Toronto and probably do the same thing. I thought Atlanta could have definitely used him, especially with their stretch run here. But my guess is they might have not wanted to give up as much assets as they probably wanted to. And he'll go to Toronto, and are they going to make the playoffs because of him? Is Scotty Barnes and him going to mesh well? I don't know. Not really. I don't think so. I think they'll be a middle of the road team. Maybe if they hit their stride, or if Masai brings in maybe one more other guy or whatever that can help them. Maybe they might be able to make a run in the East, but he's not really going to change anything in all honesty, other than a few more wins. And that's just what it is. It's not anything to be mean about. It's just who he is. He's not gonna go after it. He's not. It doesn't. There's quiet competitive guys, and then there's quiet guys that are not competitive, or at least don't look like they're competitive. And his game shows that he's not. He doesn't go out there and really want to compete and win every game. I think he just does it because he's good at it, and he's stayed healthy enough to be around. That's essentially how I look at it.
I did want to ask you though, Joe, and before I bring it back to Chris, Lonzo Ball and all this chaos that's going on, curiously now got a 2-year extension for $20 million. As you noted in our chat, he's still eligible to be traded, even though it was inferred on the tweet by Chris Haynes that, he was going to be a mainstay until 26, 27. But again, that's just rhetoric. Curious why they're doing it. Chicago has made a lot of curious moves in the past 72 hours, starting with that trade to trade away Zach LaVine and just get back their own pick and not a whole lot else. This is a team, I don't know what direction it's going into, but signing Alonzo Ball, coming off those catastrophic knee injuries, having him come back, he has played okay, but is he worth that kind of extension, and why do it now?
I believe there's a couple reasons. One, it allows them to use him as leverage in a trade. They have a good enough amount of money tied to it to where they can package it together. If they don't get a trade done, they can use it in the summer. They kind of win both ways and don't have to compete with free agency where his worth might go higher. So let's say they don't sign him and they didn't trade him, right? No one wanted him. And he kills it. He kills it in the second half where people are like, "Ooh, well, we want to throw, money at him," and then they lose him for nothing. So they kept him right underneath enough to where he's still trade eligible for tomorrow, before tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Pacific Standard Time, and then if nothing happens, they're still in a good spot because they have him signed, and then they can trade him for whatever. And another team might be able to use him and not have to worry about worrying about his contract. If he plays 1 year, cool, and then craps out, well, it's only one more year after that. It's a good deal. And the Chicago Bulls in a low key area are a lot like the Dallas Cowboys of the NBA. They had a dynasty in the 90s, one of the greatest dynasties probably we've ever seen. And Reinsdorf and his combatants there in Chicago haven't really wanted to really do much more than what they've done. They got Derrick Rose for a short amount of time. They had a chance and they were competitive, made it to an Eastern Conference Finals 1 year. Once he got injured, then it kind of just started going downhill again. And I haven't seen anything really, other than a couple of years here and there, that nothing really has been positive in Chicago. They're just there to make money because they still make a lot of money there. They will make money there forever because of Michael, because of what they did before. And it just doesn't look like he cares. I don't think they care about winning, really. I mean, everybody cares about winning, but not really cares.
Well, the thing is, though, Joe, and I'm going to bring Magic Man here as well on Magic Mags. To me, it speaks more.
Can't you drink that like in a glass or something at least?
Okay. On that note, I'm just going to say that again with Lonzo Ball, I think it's more of a culture thing because you look at the stats, you wonder why they're spending an extra $20 million on him. But
Gerald, we talked about this with D'Lo last year.
I think anybody who eats chicken wings with a wet nap is a pussy.
What's a wet nap?
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, on that note. Okay. Chris, while these two have a stare down, let me go ahead and ask you this. Getting back to the big game on Sunday, real quick. I want to go ahead and ask you if there's one thing that you think you need to look out for, my friend, as far as in this game to focus on that nobody is really talking about. I know you and your son actually find that out and talk about it on Domination Sports Nation. What would that be?
Well, I mean, everyone's going to point to how do you stop Mahomes? How do you stop Barkley? I think for me, if Jalen Hurts gets going, is it AJ Brown and Devontae Smith? Because we know Brown has been disengaged at years and this year and reading books on the sideline at times. But if either of those guys get going, I think that could really help Philadelphia on their side of the ball. And then with Kansas City, I feel like Xavier Worthy's a guy that started to emerge here down the stretch. If he gets loose, I feel like he'd be a game changer. So on either side of the ball, which wide receiver emerges? Because frankly, the Chiefs are definitely going to key on Saquon, and they're going to be determined to stop him, and they're going to dare Hurts to beat them. And with their secondary, I mean, they've got the horses to lock down the aerial threats.
Sean, let me bring you in here. It is, of course, the Madman from Toronto. He did stop off from Toronto traffic to come on by and preview the Super Bowl and the NBA trade deadline with us. It's Gerald Glassford along with Magic Man Sean Grice. It's Magic Man. Magic Man, let me ask you this real quick on the Super Bowl, and then we'll go ahead and turn to NBA. Joe is on a phone call, so he will be rejoining us here in a minute. So don't panic, everyone out there. Magic Man, I want to bring in you as far as what specific thing are you looking for this Sunday? Because again, with me and Joe, it's all about. Yeah, I get what Chris was saying about how on paper it looks like Philadelphia has the more talented team, but it's just so hard for us to deviate that in this type of situation we've seen it before. Mahomes comes through almost every time out. And for me, I think it's just that's the only thing. I just think that the Kansas City finds ways to win when it matters the most. And until you beat them, you have to favorite them. But what are you looking forward to seeing specifically on Sunday?
Gerald, if I had to point to a potential weak spot that the Eagles have defensively, it'd likely be in the linebacker core. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes completes a lot of quick passes. Like Chris was saying, I mean, it just seems that these shallow crosses and these drags are tailor made for somebody like Worthy to just break one for like 60 or 70 yards. It just feels that the middle is where you can break Philly. I mean, we know their line is very formidable, and their defensive backfield is pretty good as well. So I think if there's some way to disrupt their defense and not cave in, so to speak, but more, find that weak point. I think Andy Reid's going to exploit the middle as much as he can.
Yeah, the thing is, JY, that's exactly what JY is asking. Can Philly slow down Kelsey? And yeah, a lot is on the linebackers. Chris, a lot is on the linebackers to go ahead and cover that area of the field on Kelsey. The wide receivers are not the same as they once were on Kansas City, but Kelsey, even though his skills are declining just a little bit, and he says he wants to continue playing and all that, blah, 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 I still think that he can find, and the key to this game, if he finds it seems in the zone or in coverage, he can still make life miserable for at least one Sunday, Chris.
Yeah, he can. And to Sean's point, the Eagles' weakness is definitely their linebackers. And I feel like too, even the Commanders, they got Zach Ertz loose a few times. Tight ends have hurt them throughout the year. So wouldn't be surprised if that's what the Chiefs try and exploit the Eagles with early in this game. And you know, uh, I felt like for most of the year they kind of were having Kelsey on some sort of a proverbial pitch count, and now's the time to unleash him if they're going to.
So, Magic Man, you've heard the trade as far as go down earlier. It was a 5-team trade, reduced now to a 3-team trade. Jimmy Butler going to Golden State. I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. How does this help Golden State? I know Legend 350, who's a cover, who just looks at the Golden State Warriors, one of his favorite teams, covers them, is deeply disappointed in the trade. I don't know what this really does for them. He is not noted as a regular season mover and shaker. He's known as more of a playoff performer, but he has struggled in recent playoff performances as of late. Your thoughts on getting Jimmy Butler, who they then signed to an extension, just leaving me shaking my head that Golden State is making one mistake after another.
I agree. And I think that if you really had to evaluate this, maybe not trading for him this year would necessarily be confusing, but Gerald, signing him to an extension after all the drama that we've been. I mean, let's face it, Gerald. We cover this. That being said, we didn't want to cover something like this because it was absolutely absurd. And I think, like you said, the Warriors are getting what they deserve. And if you want this headache into a locker room that already had a few of them, not last year, but the year before, uh, by all means, go for it. That being said, Miami made out really good here, Gerald. I didn't think they would get as good of a haul as they have, and I think the Warriors at best right now are a playing team, Gerald. I think, like you said, we know Jimmy Butler is not regular season Jimmy; he's playoff Jimmy. That being said, I mean, if the Warriors got in there with the as a seventh or eighth seed, I don't really see them putting a scare into anyone. Um, I think the acquisition of Jimmy, along with Steph, makes it less likely if they did uh, obtain a playoff spot that they get swept. That being said, the Warriors aren't looking to not get swept; they're looking to win championships. But even this move is a far cry from what they truly need.
Can you just count down the days, Chris, until Jimmy and Draymond get into a fight? Yeah, I mean, what is it? What's the over under on that? Less
Whatever
than
it
a
is,
year or more than a year?
I'm gonna
less
say,
than a year.
Less than a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll say in the NBA year because we won't factor in those off season months. But yeah, I mean, come this time next year, has got to be one dust up. I mean, look, he couldn't get along with Jordan Poole. Jimmy Butler's got his own ego and history. So yeah, I don't. It's a head scratcher to say the least. It reeks of desperation. If you're going to make the trade and give up a lot, great. But then to sign to that extension just like sounds like extortion to me or some form of it.
Does Steve Kerr still have hair on his head? Because I just want to. Okay, take a picture of it now to tonight's game at Utah, guys, and then flash forward to a year from now, and seeing if just to check the hairline, just in case any falls out. So, just wondering on that, just absolutely. But Chris, I know I don't have you here much longer. I know you said you were going to have to leave on out, but I do appreciate everything that you've done each and every season as we'll go ahead through next season on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. You and I finishing second and third in our league. And I'll just leave it at that. But before we head on out, my friend, your final predictions for the game as far as the Super Bowl is concerned.
I mean, I'm leaning towards the Chiefs winning for all the reasons you and everyone else seems to think. And until you beat them, they're still the defending champs. But going back to my contrarian doghouse ways, there's not a great play on this game. But if I were to, Vegas's favorite number, as you know, Gerald, in the 2024 season was 1.5, and sure enough, that's where the line landed and where it stayed. In my opinion, the only value is the money line on the Eagles, and I'll put value in quotes. I saw it something like plus 102. So basically, you need that half a point insurance. Just take the plus 102, bet the Eagles because I would not be shocked if the Eagles beat them. They played a great game 2 years ago. I feel like they're a little more well-rounded of a team. The only thing that concerns me is which Jalen Hurts shows up. They've got Barkley. I'm well aware of that. Joe Shane started the summer by telling John Mara that Barkley was going to go, even though Mara begged him not to let him go to the Cowboys or the Eagles, and there he is in the Super Bowl. So I cannot stand the Eagles or their fans, even though some of them are my friends, but I am happy for Saquon. And if they do win, my disgust over them getting another Lombardi trophy will be slightly tempered by Saquon getting a ring that he more than deserves. So, only other thing I think of, Gerald, from a gambling perspective, some of the prop bets people go crazy with. There's one with Saquon, and if you think the Eagles are going to win, basically Saquon's going to have to be the driving force behind that. I saw like they've got it broken down by yard tiers, and once you get to like 150 plus yards, the odds start at like plus 330, I saw, and then on up. So that might be one if you want to play for fun and games. And then two, I always like the first touchdown odds. And you look at some of these guys, like I mentioned, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, even Dallas Goddard, looking like plus 1600 and up. And then on the Chiefs side of the ball, if maybe they run it in, Hunt's been tending to get some rushing touchdowns. Maybe Pacheco gets into the mix. Maybe there are a couple guys you look at there as opposed to the usual suspects of the Kelseys and the Barkleys and the Hertzes of the world.
We do have an official trade as far as Toronto and Brandon Ingram. Sorry, Nick T. Although he may still be traded somewhere else. The New Orleans Pelicans have traded Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors for Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, 1 first-round pick, and 1 second-rounder, sources tell ESPN. They have not been rerouted to the Lakers, even though both have been talked about by our fan base as far as being favorites of theirs. We'll see if both get moved again before the trade deadline. But as of now, a 1 first-round pick, 1 second-round pick has moved along with Kelly Olynyk and Bruce Brown Jr. from the Toronto Raptors for Brandon Ingram. Magic Man, your thoughts on this, my friend?
You know what, Gerald? Darko has actually done a really good coaching job over the past month, and so much so that Toronto Raptors fans are pissed off now that they're not going to be able to be in the lottery because they've won 6 of 7, and now you've added a closer in Brandon Ingram. It makes Scotty Barnes' life a little bit easier, Gerald, because now he's not counted on to be the facilitator and the finisher. He can play his basic game, which is to, score anywhere from 15 to 25 points, get the double in terms of boards, and average anywhere from 6 to 12 assists a game. Yeah, he's not a prototypical scorer. Scotty Barnes is more of a facilitator, and he needed somebody with a scoring touch. And this also opens up more room for Grady Dick as well, Gerald. Grady Dick's probably made the biggest leap from first to second year players, I feel, this year. His shooting has gotten out of a slump, and I think it opens up a lot of doors for him. As far as the Pelicans are concerned, I mean, what could we say, Gerald? They may reroute Bruce Brown and or Olynyk to somewhere else. But that being said, I think this is the most improbable situation I believe David Griffin thought he would find himself in, Gerald, where he's a seller at the trade deadline rather than a buyer. And I just feel that, again, New Orleans makes another kind of confounding move unless they really, really think that putting Cooper Flagg beside Zion Williamson will net an extra 25 to 30 wins, which I'm skeptical about.
I do want to ask, this is my last question for both, for Chris, before he goes ahead and gives a plug for Domination Sports Nation. Chris, could Zion be the next big name to move before the trade deadline?
When you mentioned Haynes reporting the Pelicans. That was the first name that popped into mind, and I would have thought there'd be more buzz about it right now. I guess we've still got less than a day left, but I would not be surprised if A's moves and B it's a second piece in some sort of puzzle that Griffin's playing with right now. I think it makes sense, but I don't know what the market is for him right now. It remains to be seen.
Okay, my friend. Always great to have you here. I look forward to our next season of Inside Sports Fantasy Football and also our coverage of the NFL Draft. That's going to be something that I would like to absolutely have you back on for, my friend. But before we head on out, please give that plug to our audience out there on what you're doing with your son on the great podcast, Domination Sports Nation.
Thank you, Gerald. It's great to spend another season with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Same here.
And we'll plenty to talk about in the NFL draft with the Giants sitting at 3 in a head scratching state, but that's for the spring. Dom and I will be back with our Super Bowl preview show tomorrow evening. He's got plenty to say, and we've got plenty to say about these three blockbuster trades in 1 week in the NBA. A lot of the skeptics out there are like, why did the NBA have the trade deadline the week of the Super Bowl? And honestly, I feel like the first few days of all the awful interviews from Radio Row, a lot of these shows are starting talking about basketball from New Orleans. So I think in a funny way, it's kind of worked out for the NBA, especially since Thanksgiving on, or the Christmas Day ratings fiasco. Everyone's singing about their demise and what Silver needs to do next. So I think it's an interesting time of year when basketball steals some of the thunder from the biggest game and the biggest sport in this country. And then lo and behold, the calendar turns to February and my phone starts buzzing with MLB updates, and we got pitchers and catchers reporting. So I'll have some baseball to talk about too. Wherever you get your podcast, it's Dom-in Nation Sports Nation. Follow us on Instagram at Domination Sports Nation.
I got it listed down below in the description. It is Dom and Chris Lardieri talking to you at Domination Sports Nation. Chris, another great season of Inside Sports Fantasy Football in the books. I'm honored to have been with you doing that show for several years now. I know that we'll be covering in April the NFL Draft. Hopefully, Joe and Sean will be able to join us for that. And then, of course, heading into a new season on fantasy football. I'm going to get my title back. I'm going to get my title back, Chris. I got to get it back.
One of us has to, right?
And the thing is, again, if I had just scored enough in that semifinal game, I would have beaten both you guys in the final. But oh well, c'est la vie. But once again, it is of course Chris Sardieri. Chris, always good to have you here. You're welcome to stay on, but if you need to go, let me know. You're okay, my friend. But if you want to stay on, you're welcome always, my friend.
No, I appreciate it. We'll talk about this in a future episode. Dom's got some things going on with school that he needs my printing expertise on. Believe it or not, that's it's funny when he's asking me for help on those sorts of things. But there'll be other shows. And guys, good being with you another season, and enjoy the game Sunday.
Absolutely, you do the same, my friend. Wishing you all the best. It is Chris Lardieri along with his son, Dom Lardieri. Go ahead and check them out today on the Domination Sports Nation. So, Joe, you saw Brandon Ingram being traded to the Toronto Raptors, sending him up north. And don't take this the wrong way, Magic Man, but NBA, Toronto is often called the Siberia of the NBA because of the tax situation and things of that nature. But Brandon Ingram, I said earlier to Joe that I think he has a game that would have been best suited in the 90s. That's probably my assertion because he's just so reliant on the mid-range jumper, so good and effective on that. He is at best an adequate defender. Natalia says he's bad, and I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to argue with that, but you would think at his athleticism and his size, he could actually go ahead and be a little bit more effective on that end of the floor as well. Joe, your thoughts on Brandon Ingram? I mean, he's a point getter. That's what he can do. Toronto, I don't understand really what they're doing. It's kind of like a half tank, half, okay, we got ourselves a quality player now, but really, where does it take that franchise? I got you.
It beats having Olenek, Brown, and maybe their first pick. At least they have somebody that can score 20 points a game with Scotty Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Do something until maybe something happens. I don't know. That the Toronto thing is. I don't know. I don't know what teams like Toronto, Minnesota, and New Orleans do without a draft, or Popovich handing you an all world player. It's very hard for those guys to get top notch free agents to go over there. Look what happened today. Pete Alonso was supposed to be a Blue Jay, and at least that's what the word was. And all of a sudden, he comes back to the Mets for essentially a 1-year deal for $30 million. This guy was supposed to have apparently $100+ million contract for 4 or 5 years. Now he's going to go back, and it's signed for a 2-year deal, but there's an opt out after year one. I'm pretty sure he's going to opt out, especially if he has a good year. It's just difficult. It's difficult to deal with the finances in Canada. Canada is in a lot of ways kind of like California, but a little worse because you also get jacked federally. Minnesota, no one wants to live in those areas. Minnesota, Milwaukee, they just don't want to. They don't want to live there. People don't want to live there unless they have to. And what can I say, man? What can I say other than
I guess seemed to be a trade just to do a trade. I don't understand.
Bruce Brown was a dud. Olenek was and then they sent out a first-round pick. I don't know what it's protected to, but they got the better part of the deal. That's for sure. And
yeah, they got picks and expirings.
Yeah, New Orleans now just goes back to the drawing board and hopes that they can get a good draft pick again and ruin another great player's life.
and Magic Man, again, I'll just touch on this before we go on to something else. I mean, I know we talked about what Griffith's doing in New Orleans. It's not exactly what he had signed up for, but I think he got the better of his trade because he gets expirings, and he's getting draft picks on top of it. And New Orleans is allergic to the tax, and they did get under the tax when they sent Daniel Tice earlier today to Oklahoma City. So again, at this point, they are selling themselves out. But man, I wish they would did. Well, I wouldn't. Zion wouldn't be my first choice off the roster. I would go after Trey Murphy. That's the first person I would go in all out if I was a team and they were in their sell mode. But obviously, they're going to keep him because he's a young, high prolific scoring forward wing who could play adequate defense and also hit from the three. But with Zion, again, that still leaves me. There's still time. I mean, is Zion the future of New Orleans? Sean? No? Okay.
You all right, Sean? You all right, Sean? You got kicked out your tongue?
No.
You want a punch in the face? Wake you up?
All right, Joe.
One thing I want to make clear to everyone out there, these two go at it all day long. Let you know.
It's like little brother, big brother. If you don't understand it, go fly a kite somewhere else. Anyway, no, I don't think so, Gerald. Not at this point. I think it's hard to move him. Well, maybe it isn't because now you have a price point. Luka Doncic has created a price point. You really only need one first-round pick to dangle in front of New Orleans to maybe get Zion. So it depends on who's going to pull the trigger here. I don't think it'll happen before the deadline. I'd be very skeptical if it happened in the summer too, because I think they want to just milk the cow here, Gerald, for as long as they can until either Zion turns a corner here and asks for a trade, or New Orleans trades him when his value is at its lowest. I mean, there's only one or two options here for New Orleans. They either trade Zion when his value is at its peak, its highest, or they trade him when his value is at its lowest. And Gerald's often said, you don't sell low when you can wait it out. So I think New Orleans is just going to wait it out, Gerald, and see if he has a resurgence next year, and then I think they pull the trigger at next year's trade deadline.
I just say this again. I want to make a correction. Nick T's favorite player, Kelly Olynyk, does have another year on his contract. He won't be eligible for free agency until 2026. But Bruce Brown has got a 23 million expiring. We've said it over
You know, I'm just gonna miss those Kelly Olynyk shawarma commercials every 15 minutes you see on local TV. Oh,
I didn't even know that, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Soon as he came here, Gerald, he was in a shawarma commercial, a Nike commercial. I think he was in a Mercedes-Benz commercial as well within about a week. So he took advantage of his time here in Toronto as far as endorsements are concerned. And now, good luck in New Orleans, Kelly, because there's only a few things you can do in New Orleans. Eat,
There you go.
get drunk, enjoy the ladies of the night, gamble illegally, or a few other things that we won't mention.
Okay. And on that note, it's of course the Lakers fast break. It's our Super Bowl and NBA trade deadline preview. So 1 hour in, Joe. Looking to get some more people on here in a little bit. But Xbox, Zach, if you're out there, if you want to join us, go ahead. But I do want to get Joe's thoughts. Less than 24 hours away is the trade deadline. A lot of people are getting very nervous about the Lakers not making a move as of yet for a big man. So with that, what is your level of anticipation? Are you nervous, or you said that you're willing to go ahead and bide your time on when it comes to Luka? I am a little bit more in the, well, you've got LeBron and Luka win now, but if they don't, they don't. It's just that simple. I would like to see them shore up that really big hole in the middle. I know that Darren has chastised both of us as far as our thoughts on that in regards to focusing more on the defensive guard, and he has a point there. As far as that's losing Max Christie, who did play adequate defense at times. Yes, Magic Man.
I just have a couple questions for Darren.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the point of winning basketball games, Gerald, is to put the ball in the hole, correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Luka is one of the 3 best scorers who's also a shooter in the world. Now, Shea can't say that. Giannis can't say that. Luka can. And so people are going to now deflect or invert. Like the problem isn't the offense, now it's the defense. Well, you got to put the ball in the hole to win basketball games. Okay. I'll just leave it at that.
Because he does have a point. The Lakers do have an issue with defensive back.
He does have a point, but we solved the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
You managed to acquire a scorer who's a shooter.
Yeah.
The best on the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. So we can figure out the defense later.
And he's clutch too, which is something the Lakers have been missing a lot.
So we can figure out the defense later, but now we got somebody who could put the ball in the hole on a regular basis.
You think us freezing on air when this happened, you think that was just because we were happy about the Lakers doing something? Guys, this could be the greatest trade that's ever happened when it's all said and done. That's the potential it has.
Needs to hold up his end, but yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Joe, let me bring it back to you. And once again, it is the Lakers fast break. So funny. Because even when we give Darren a compliment, he still snipes at us, and it's just so funny. But we love you, Darren. We love you, Darren. So, Joe, I was trying to support something that Darren said, and he still said,
He's right.
"Hey, go at me. I go."
Yeah,
Like,
he's right. He's
Snipes
right.
you.
He's got a point.
Yeah, and he still snipes at me. So it is what it is. You just can't win with Darren. But anyways, Joe, I wanted to ask you again. We're less than 24 hours away from the trade deadline. I think still work needs to be done. I think again, not to be misquoted by Joey or whatever profile he has coming up every 5 to 10 minutes, misquoting you and I, saying that we said this, we said that. Specifically, the Lakers in any series with Luka and LeBron, if they are playing at as well as we have seen both play in recent times, they can't be competitive in a series against anyone. I'm not saying they could beat. I say they could be competitive in a series against anyone now in the NBA in a 7-game series. Your thoughts, my friend? The temptation should be there for Rob to do something more because the ball is now in his court. He did get the trade done. Yes, this landed right in his lap, but he got the particulars done. He got us, as far as this trade without having to give up for both first round draft picks. So I do have to compliment on that. He has now got to go ahead, whether you do it now or later. I would say sooner because the time clock, but you know what? It is what it is. No problem. Again, we have Luca, so we have a future going forward. But the temptation will be there for Rob to try and do something within the next few hours, Joe. Rest assured.
It's exciting. I'm not nervous. I'm not in any way. I'm excited. It makes more sense that this thing will go to the last bell here because it's a leverage game. Guys like Robert Williams, or since you mentioned Zion, who's going to fold first? Let's say New Orleans wants 4 firsts for Zion. Who the hell's going to give them 4 firsts? But they got to give it a shot, right? Start high, knowing you're going to have to go in the middle or low, right? I am not going to judge whether they do something at 12 o'clock tomorrow at Pacific time or not. I'm not. They already won the trade deadline by 10 times. And I've been in a mood that I've never been in terms of both LA teams at once.
You've been giddy.
Oh, I'm beyond giddy. I have been floating, and I'm still floating. I went into my drawer, and I actually already folded, but I put together my Laker gear, and I'm like, why am I not wearing these things? I hadn't worn this shirt in like 3 years. It's a nice shirt too, right? I go, I have so much pride and so much just joyful exuberance that everyone's gonna see the other side. It's here. It's not gonna be frustration. It's
the equivalent of the Lakers being Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music.
Sure, absolutely. That's a great her dancing in the flower fields,
the meadow, yeah.
Meadows. That is, if you had one Sean, I would do it. I would dance just like Julie Andrews. I'm just ecstatic. Every time I saw Luka on tape today,
I now got this weird image of Joe running through a field saying the hills are alive with the sound of music. Oh my God! Get it out of my brain!
Yes, if you have a green screen of the fields, I will do it. So, looking at, let's say, the surrounding parts of Luka Doncic, you have LeBron James. You have a supporting cast that has shown an interesting ability the last week that we have not seen, and not seen in a consistent way. And if this is what that creates, you gotta roll with it, and you just gotta add a few things. So Rob said at the press conference, at Luka's press conference, he's gonna play around the edges, right? It's good business, and it's a good way to go about it. You don't want to trade two of your system good role players in hopes that Robert Williams, let's say, will stay healthy. That's a dangerous game to play. So if Rob thinks in the end here that he can't get what he needs without destroying what they kind of are creating here, then I'm going to roll with it. And I'm going to say, look, don't mess it up. It's better to roll with what you have, knowing that they're all ready to go. Luka Doncic is a chemistry savant in any system he's in. It doesn't matter. He is that good. So by putting him in, just think about this for a minute, guys. Look, the Clippers are not a bad team. They're in the playoffs right now. Lakers absolutely handed it to them yesterday, and they didn't have Luka there. What the hell is going to happen when Luka's on the team? Kawhi looked like he didn't know what to do. Harden, I didn't even know he hardly played. If it wasn't for Powell, I don't even know if those guys would have scored 90 points. So I'm feeling pretty good about where they're at, and I'm going to roll with the fact that they need to not risk what might be available this summer and try and just get just enough if that's what if that's how it plays out. And I trust LeBron and Luka in the playoffs. I trust those guys. I'm sorry to say this, AD. I loved you in 2020, and I loved you in 2021 when you were playing until you got injured. But since then, I haven't seen AD assert himself in the big moments as much as I would have liked to have seen him do. And I know for a fact that LeBron, especially with the ball handling duties now going to be with Luka, he is going to be really fresh at the end of those games, and Luka is about to hit his prime, and I can't wait to see the viciousness and the competitive fire this guy has. Could you guys imagine if the Lakers end up playing Dallas in the playoffs? How that series is going to go?
Check this out, Joe. Okay, Dallas first round, Clippers second round, Denver Western Conference Finals.
I don't think that good.
That won't happen.
Ideal. That would be
Yes.
ideal. I think if anything, they'd play Dallas in the second round, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. What if that was the arc as for the Lakers?
Yeah.
That was it. That would be too wild. But Magic Man, again, Joe and I, little subtle differences. I'm more of a win now. In this case, I have completely turned around into more of a win now because I know the time frame for LeBron, LeBron and Luka. And then, of course, Joe is more, he could go either which way, more about playing the long game. I just don't see us adding many more assets right now in order to go ahead, or even in the summer, to be able to free up. But then again, this is what the summer's for, and something may materialize over that case if you wait that out. But with LeBron playing at such a high level, you saw him at MSG, you saw him against the Clippers. The temptation to do something now, to me, is very great for Rob Pelinka to try and see what he can do with the few assets he has left. But again, if he doesn't do it, I'm not going to say he's at fault because he's already won the trade deadline by getting Luka Doncic, Magic Man.
He already won it, Gerald, and he's probably going to end up winning it next year too. Because I mean, I think this is one of those trades where the aftershocks are going to be felt long after. And quite frankly, I don't want to. If Pelinka thinks he can acquire a better center in the summer and not have to deplete what he has in the cupboard, then I think that's what they should do. But I also think you're correct in that, you also kind of need to be in win now mode, because at any point in time, a 40-year-old superstar can have a bum ankle, twisted knee, and then Bob's your uncle. It's been a great career, but since he's playing at a high level, and he also now has an elite scorer and a myriad of talent around them, there's the temptation is there, Gerald, to win now. I agree, but it has to be the right move. I know that kind of sounds cliche, but I mean, if you're gonna make a giant step like this, you better be sure you're acquiring a player that's at least GQ, like Joe said, like not Robert Williams or Andre Drummond. It has to be somebody who's GQ.
Yeah, that Andre Drummond is no longer going to move the needle. Robert Williams, you know what? Everybody that the Lakers get, somebody that the Lakers are going to bring in is probably going to have some type of baggage. It's just there's no perfect answer. There's no Luka Doncic style center that is going to actually drop in. So it's going to be someone that's going to have something attached to them that's always going to leave a question mark out there, whether they trade for it in the next, some odd hours, or if they trade for it during the off season, because it really, with what limited assets they have, what limited room that they have, it's going to be interesting to see what Rob can work out there. But Joe, the euphoria, it's still there for us. I can feel it. It's just great. I can sense it in the crowd. Well, at least most of the crowd anyways, in regards to Luka being here and being able to change the dynamic going forward. This time last week, you, Sean, myself, we were trying to temper the enthusiasm from everybody out there on what to expect, because we had basically told them point blank the Lakers did not have a chance to win a championship this season or sometime in the near future unless something dramatically changed. And guess what, Joe? Something dramatically changed.
Something dramatically changed that was status quo for 70 years. When a new system had come in and said, you're not doing this anymore. And it reminded me of Dr. Buss saying, we'll figure it out. Well, God, by golly, Jeannie Buss channeled her dad. And my God, did she pull a Dr. Buss. I mean, she outdid her dad here, at least on paper.
Yeah.
If Luka wins a championship, even one, it's in the record books. It really is. But I don't see how the hell, if Luka stays healthy, how this team's not going to win multiple championships. Luka is him. And Luka is going to be supplied with what he needs. The Lakers have not really had a player like this since Shaq, where he got there and they were ready and to compete for a title like that. Magic came in and they were obviously ready to go too, but I don't have the pulse on that. I was too young. I can only go by the Shaq thing. And that's what this feels like. It feels like the Shaq thing. Powell obviously was one as well, but the Lakers were a 1 seed when Powell got acquired. The Lakers were not good enough to win, much like some of our favorite teams there in the mid 90s that played their rear ends off. Still love them, but we knew they weren't going to be able to win a championship. So it flipped everything, and not only did it flip everything, you got essentially at worst the second best player in my book on the planet, and if he's healthy, is probably the best player on the planet, even above Jokic.
Magic Man, Chris Haynes was reporting that Kevin Durant is not going anywhere, although that didn't work really that well for Brian Windhorst the other day. He's stating that Kevin Durant declined a trade back to Golden State. He looks like he is not going anywhere.
There's a trade.
Something's going. Here it comes. We'll get back to Kevin Durant.
What's
the trade?
Go to Shams.
I'm trying to go to Shams.
Lakers are trading Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, the 2031 unprotected first round pick, and a 2030 pick swap to Charlotte for center Mark Williams.
Oh, wow. Here we go,
Mm.
guys. Oh, Dalton Connect gone, but it's the center we need. So there you go. It took Dalton Connect. I will miss you. Thank God I didn't spend the money on the jersey, Magic Man. But
You don't. Never buy, folks. Never buy a rookie's jersey. I'll just say that. Never buy a rookie jersey.
I'll post it here in a second. So the Lakers have found their center. They are going all in, Joe. They are going all
guys. Wow. He is the perfect center for this team, guys. This guy's averaging 15 and 10, and he is built for this. I don't even know what to say,
15 and 10. He only makes 4.5 a year.
I mean, this is man. This is. I don't know. I'm speechless again. I'm speechless. I didn't. Did you guys see any of this? Did you see this? I didn't see.
No,
it
didn't pop up in my notifications. So yeah, we were going to different directions.
I see it. I see it.
It's there. It's real. The thing is, Joe, we had talked about a couple weeks ago. Why would you trade two young centers with upside on cheap contracts in Charlotte? Fine by us. We've got Mark Williams, who really is good. You know, looks like he's going to realize a lot of potential, guys. But man, if you're Charlotte, Dalton Connect, now he gets to go off. Doesn't have to worry about playing defense. He can go ahead and he can shoot and score. I wish him all the best. We're going to keep an eye on him, Magic Man, and see how well he's doing. Cam,
Gerald, he may end up being the runt of the litter in that pack, though. You got Miles Bridges, you got Cody Martin, you've got LaMelo Ball. He's going to have to fight and scratch and claw.
they'll take 500 shots and then see what happens there. But Cam Reddish, you know, you don't have to be the odd man out all the time.
It's not cardio bros anymore. There's only a cardio bro.
Yes, there's only a cardio bro that's left. But the Lakers have their center, Mark Williams. They did not have to give up Rui. They did not have to give up Austin Reeves, or yet. So
there's going to be a lot of backlash.
And we don't have to play Jackson Hayes more than 3 minutes in a playoff game.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of backlash here because people get attached to Connect. A lot of people don't know who Mark Williams is.
And to those people, I say we don't have time to explain it to you.
Yeah, no, we do. We do,
Folks,
Magic Man.
This guy is 24 years old. Okay.
Out of North Carolina.
He can ball, and he is going to ball even more with LeBron and Luka giving him the ball. He is
got to stay healthy, though.
True. Everybody's got to stay healthy at this point. This was not only a good pick, but this guy has room to get better, and I believe you won't look at it as a bad thing down the road. You have to give up something, and you gave up Connect, but the Lakers could not go into a title contention setup here without getting that 4-5 guy. Just know that they had to give up something. And
no. See, Gerald, look at what has happened this year that has transpired. Forget about Luka. Forget about Luka for a minute. You got rid of JHS. You got rid of Cam Reddish.
Getting rid of all your mistakes.
All your dead wood. All your dead wood is gone. Except for Christian Wood. But
Bronny James.
He's really gone anyways. He's not playing.
Well, he's on the roster, so yeah. I mean, I gotta acknowledge that he exists and that he's on the Lakers. But yeah, you make it so a point there. But I mean, Bronny James came with the car, Gerald. He's he's like the model woman that. Do you come with the car? Well, Bronny has to come with the car. Okay.
I'm updated right now, so people can go ahead and check it out.
The Bronny James was a lot like getting a really nice car, but it's got a spoiler on the back that makes it look like shit, but you got to get it anyway. That's Bronny James. He's a spoiler on the back of a really nice car.
And it still leaves room for what Darren wanted to go ahead and target, a defensive-minded shooting guard to replace the spot that was opened by by Christie. So your thoughts on that, Joe? I mean, Connect, we love you. We'll miss you. But again, it's a business, and the Lakers, again, if you're Charlotte, I don't know, 2 cheap 7-footers, both under $6 million a year, Magic Man, and they got rid of them both. I don't understand that. I never will. No one can try to tell me that otherwise. But hey, it's to our advantage. I love it. The fact is, we now have a shot blocker. Again, he did have health issues to start the season, so let's hope he's put that behind him. He's still very young at 24. This is something that Joe and I did not anticipate. He was a name that we didn't talk about. Yeah.
No, because we didn't anticipate, them moving him, Gerald. But
yeah,
pieces fit. Just out of curiosity, Gerald, it's really interesting to me seeing these moves that are being made. So, if Washington or Charlotte drafts Cooper Flag, who the hell's getting the lob passes?
Good point.
All these teams are trading away their big men. So who the hell is
putting it up?
Who the hell is Cooper Flag going to be throwing the ball to?
They just want to throw threes, man. That's all they care about right now. Just throw threes.
Wow.
Look at
LaMelo Ball isn't the best 3-point shooter, Joe, and Cooper Flag needs to develop that skill. But yeah, I get it. But still, I mean, do you want to keep picking top 3, top 5? Because this is what it's over and over again, Joe.
He's averaging 16 and 10 on the season, guys.
You know what we do, Joe? Gerald, get the screen up. I'm
just saying he's got 16.
He does that in 25 minutes too, guys. He does that in 25 minutes.
This is what happens when you acquire somebody like this. You pilfer you pilfer the hen house. You pilfer the hen house.
Sean is cooking on this one. Sean, keep going with what you're doing. Finish what you said, but I want to hear what Sean said.
Let me get this straight. So the Lakers, in a matter of days, have gotten younger, more talented, have set themselves up for the future, and also set themselves up for a run in the playoffs simultaneously as well. Have I got that correct, guys?
Dude, yes. It's in 5 Saturday. Do you count Saturday? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. In 4 days, they changed the culture. They changed the culture of everything, the NBA, let alone the Lakers. By the way, Mark Williams dropped 20 and 15 against Denver and 38 in Memphis. This guy can ball. This is the quintessential player. He's 24 years old. They have him for 2 more years until they got to give him a qualifying offer. This is the guy that you wanted playing next to these guys. It is set up, guys. They didn't have to trade any of their depth. I know losing Connect sucks, but you had to give up something to get this guy. And giving up a rookie right now, you have to go that route. You couldn't give them Rui. You couldn't give them because Rui is just too big down low. He can play defense at least, right? Connect can't play defense right now. The Lakers are going for a title right now. This is freaking unbelievable. Unbelievable.
What did I tell you, Joe? What did I tell you? You know, we were in the next few hours. He would determine what he could get.
Oh, dude, we should have known that it would have been a surprise at this point. I mean, come on. I wouldn't have thought in a million years they'd get Mark Williams. In a million years.
Young, talented, and cheap. Why do you give that up? Charlotte, you're fine. We'll take it. We'll take it. Like you said, Sean, pilfering the hen house.
Pilfering the hen house, Gerald. It's what we do when we get a superstar. So when the Lakers got Pau Gasol, they made another small move, Gerald. They traded Vlad Rad to the Charlotte Bobcats, and they got Shannon Brown and Ammo. Now, a lot of people just thought that was a throw-in salary dump, but really, Shannon Brown was unlocked as a backup shooting guard. The next year, Gerald, they signed Meta World Peace. So it took the Lakers only about a year and change after you acquire a superstar to put together a championship level team. And we've already seen another move made to pilfer the henhouse. Like Joe said, Williams is a very good player. You've got him under control for at least 3 more years, potentially more, and you can match an offer that's sent his way regardless of the CBA. So this is a great move. It's a nice chess move. It's kind of rook to queen at this point, Gerald, to get Mark Williams. And I'm sure we'll hear a lot of bitching and moaning from NBA executives. Oh, well, if I knew Mark Williams was available, I would have given. What was that? I would have given him a haul. They should have gotten a Brinks truck for Mark Williams. What are they doing?
I'll just say this again: the Lakers, they've made another great trade. Again, we love Connect here. We always will. We thought he was better than Christie, and we'll still stand on that. But now Christie's gone. Rodell, we don't have to argue anymore, Rodell. Christie is gone. Connect is gone. So we don't have to argue about that anymore. But here are the outstanding firsts for the Lakers, what they have outgoing. So just let everybody know: an unprotected first to Atlanta, a top 4 protected first to Utah, an unprotected first to Dallas in 2029. Charlotte has the right to swap in 2030, and an unprotected first to Charlotte in 2031. So yes, the NBA draft and the Lakers will not go hand in hand very much over the course of the next few years, but we're putting our chips in now because we've got a young center that can rebound, block shots, and score.
And can shoot free throws.
Luka. And can shoot free throws.
and
No
to
Nick
be fair-
Claxton. No Nick Claxton.
And
Yes.
to be fair, when you're a top 5 team in the NBA, you can afford to surrender a first round pick. Because the emphasis is on winning games more than it is developing talent. Now, if they coincide, if they coincide or bifurcate and meet, it's great. But the point is to win. We're going for it. We are going for it.
Gerald, what did we say? What did we say?
The one thing is his durability, though, Joe. It is his durability because he's only played 43 games, 19 games, and 23 games in his 3 seasons. So go ahead.
I think his enthusiasm is going to make him play.
Okay.
What did we say? What did we say about Reeves and Rui? Okay, check this out. Your starting lineup: Luka, Gabe, DFS, LeBron, and Williams. Reeves and Rui off the bench. What did we say when we said if Rui and Reeves are off the bench, what is the team? A title contender.
Yep, we did.
Now I know that's probably not gonna. I know that's not how it's gonna probably play out. But at some point, that lineup is gonna make more sense with Gabe at the 2, especially now that he's hitting the shots. And then you have DFS with his defense, LeBron at the 4, obviously, and then Williams at center. Look for that lineup to be, because you have Luka, you have Gabe, and DFS. Gabe is a decent defender. DFS is obviously a good defender. I mean, in 4 days, our entire lives have changed in LA.
But Joe, we got to face. They are best AR and Rui off the bench as your 6'7" guys. But I will say that those two, because they have contract negotiations, or just they have one chance to cash in, both of those guys, because of their age in the future, coming up in 2 seasons, thereabouts. Magic Man, I have a feeling that both, or at least their agents, are going to put in their ear, and they probably won't be the happiest doing it if they have to one or both go back to the bench, Sean, because of, again, what's coming on through. But it is the best for the team as of now. They might be good teammates and do that for now, but we'll see how long that lasts. But again, AR and Rui, if they go back to the bench in this lineup, whatever it is, we still need, as Darren pointed out, a defensive-minded shooting guard. If we can find that before the trade deadline, yeah, man, just watch
Folks,
out, everyone. Here they come.
Mark Williams can ball. I want you to imagine how much he can ball when Luke is throwing him the passes.
Or LeBron.
Okay, you think it was a coincidence that PJ Washington and Gafford and Lively played so well? Lively had such a great rookie year. Gafford played well in Dallas, better than anywhere else, or PJ Washington played better than anywhere else. You think it was just a coincidence when they went to Dallas, they became really, really good? Now they got exposed in the finals, but that's everybody messed up there. Everybody messed up in Dallas, and I think Jason Kidd had some fault there too. I think he got out coached out the building as well in those 5 games, but it happens, right? It is what it is. But folks, barring injury, the Lakers are a threat as of today. They are a threat.
And again, don't misquote Joe or anything like that. He said a threat, just like I did.
Yeah,
They're
a threat. I'm not saying they're going to beat Denver, they're going to beat Boston, or they're going to beat Oklahoma City. I said they are a threat now. The reason why they won't be a threat is if stuff happens, like injuries, things like that. That's the only thing right now that we have to cross our fingers on.
So with that, what would you like to see them do? Do you think that they have 1 second left? I think that they can, or did they trade that as well in the trade? To go ahead and figure that out. Just go ahead. If they did trade that second round, I think they did, as far as that's concerned, Magic Man. But I wanted to ask, what is still left for the Lakers? No, it was no, still have that second for this year, Magic Man. I want to ask your thoughts. What can the Lakers still do? Should they go even more all in, or should they stick with what they have?
Well, they have
Because
another
again,
roster. They have a roster spot open now, so if
Yes.
they want to get somebody
Yep.
on a buyout,
but remember, they're limited. Bruce Brand is not available for them. Ben Simmons is not available for them.
Can they, Sean? Can they do Can they get a buyout? They're above the apron, right? Like
It's 15 million and under.
That's what it was. That's right.
It's 15 million and under. If they have a salary that is 15 million and under, guys, they can. But I know that's been mentioned in the chat. Bruce Brown, if he's bought out, Bruce Brown, they can't. Kelly Olynyk, Nick T, could be gotten if he is. Well, actually, no, he's not going to be bought out because he has another year. Never mind on that one. He has another year on that. But if somebody gets bought out and their contract is under 15 million because the Lakers are the first.
It's a bummer because Brooke Lopez might be let go here, but he makes more than 15, unfortunately. That would have been a good one.
Yeah, anybody 15 and up is no. Anybody 15 and below is yes. Somebody that the Lakers could be interested in. So just to let everyone know.
So like honestly, if you're looking at any of the names that are being bantied about, Gerald, are Ben Simmons. Lakers will not be able to get him as a buyout, or Bojan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic makes too much money as well, so the Lakers wouldn't be in the market for him either. So Gerald, I would try and acquire another shooter. Either I don't know how you acquire them. If you could squirrel yourself into getting a couple seconds or an extra first here or there for something, I don't know what they could do, but they need to add another shooter, either from the buyout pool or trade. But other than that, I think you're pretty solidified. But it's like having defensemen in the NHL playoffs, Gerald. You can never have enough shooting. You can never have enough defense. You can never have enough shooting.
Darren and Chris, they don't need to waive Morris. They've got a slot open right now. They've got a spot open, so they don't need to waive him. Plus, they're in the tax already.
I wouldn't want to waive them either. Like I would. So let me ask the chat a question. Would you rather give backup 5 minutes to Morris or Jackson Hayes?
That's a good question. What does Morris have left? I haven't seen much of him this year, and outside of garbage time, so you don't know what happened. Right now, I guess you still have to go with Hayes because he's used to playing rotation minutes.
I'd split it. I'd split it between the two of them.
Okay. And this is again, CJ. This is not the Morris
You
from
have
5 years ago.
you have a body. I would use them.
Okay, this is not the Morris from 5 years ago. Let's just
It is
put that in
not the Morris
perspective.
from 5 years ago. So
Yeah,
the
that's
Morris
just-
from 3 years ago.
What about Schroeder?
He is like his brother. Him and his brother have reached a bifurcation. Both of them are kind of walking pylons.
Mm-hmm.
But Markieff can still do this at the basket. And he can still board.
Yeah. I want to ask you this, guys. Dennis Schroeder is available.
But he hasn't been the same since Nikola Jokic backdoored him, literally blindsided him with a hit in the back. He's never been the same since.
One thing I do want to stress, though, it was mentioned Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder, if he's released by Utah, if he asks for release, he could be eligible to be picked up by the Lakers, just to let everyone know. So we'll see if that happens. I don't know if he fits per se exactly everything we need there, because it's still, you're looking for a shooting guard, someone with height.
I heard
6'4", 5', 6'6".
I heard the Cavs are going to offer him a bigger role, Gerald.
Yeah, and in that case, man, Schroeder's been everywhere in the past few months already. So we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, I don't think he's long for Utah, in my opinion, as well. I think they'll let him go if they can't find a trade for him in the next few hours. But yeah, one roster spot is empty right now, Kurt, because it was a 2-for-1 swap. As you're seeing right there in the ticker below, the Lakers have just traded Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, a 2031 unprotected first-round draft pick, and a 2030 pick swap for Mark Williams. He's actually 23, according to the stats, Joe, so he's even younger than what you had said earlier, because you said 24. Again, a shot blocker, a rebounder, big body, size. He may not be the ultimate answer for Jokic, but man, playing with someone who has that kind of potential, bringing him in here on a relatively inexpensive contract, that's just something, again, you just can't afford to pass up, Joe.
No, because they're going after it right now.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to care about Connect and what he turns into if the Lakers end up winning the championship this year. And Mark Williams is exactly the player that you know what's funny about this? This is the exact center that AD wanted. Yeah, they would have made this deal if that Luka deal didn't happen anyways. I have no doubt. This was perfect. He stays healthy, guys. This is exactly what they need. And if you think he's good now, wait till Luka starts throwing him balls as well as LeBron. This was the Lakers absolutely just shredded the league right now on paper. It's just going to come down to execution now.
Gerald, this is how much a Luka jersey is going for here.
Go ahead, bring it up. Yeah, that's what? That's not the $79 one. That's not the $79 one that sold out the other day.
No.
So, no. Alan, Gerald, so they could pick someone on buyer's market. Well, remember, okay, if somebody's waived, Alan, they can only pick up someone on a buyout if they've earned $15 million or less this season. That's because they're in the first tax apron. If they've earned less than $15 million this season, they can offer that individual, a spot on their roster. And the Lakers now have an open roster spot, whether they want to do it for a buyout for someone that is eligible for that, or they're looking to do another trade. Joe, Sean, I'll get you back to you, Sean. Are they looking at another trade?
I think they are.
There's still Gabe. As Empire Jeff mentioned in the chat, there's still Rui. I mean, AR is kind of a little bit redundant in his current position.
Yeah,
and of course,
you know what?
His representatives may not be thrilled by the fact that he would be taking a back seat, even though we all have said that's the best spot for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I just see Gerald, when the Mavs made the finals, they had the Austin Reeves is better than any of the other than Kyrie. Austin Reeves is better than any guard that played beside Luka in Dallas. And that and although PJ Washington is listed as forward, I consider him more of a guard, Gerald, because he has guard skills. That being said, I understand that a lot of people think Reeves is redundant, and we've often said, Reeves can't be at a championship level team with that kind of defense. Well, with Luka, he can. Because
Ali,
I actually see Gerald. I actually think there's going to be quicker chemistry between Luka and Reeves than Luka and LeBron. Personally,
yeah, Ali, we can't get Simmons, so I don't even know why I want to waste too much time on it. Because and then Ben Simmons, you got to remember, he's had all those back surgeries. What is left of the man after all these back surgeries? What is left of the player? And he doesn't help your shooting at all. He does facilitate, but you already have two of the best facilitators on the planet on the same team. He does play defense. I will give you that, Ali. But yeah, he wouldn't be something that we would be interested in unless he becomes available as a free agent during the summer. Maybe we pick him up for the MLE or a minimum. You have to decide there. But yeah, it really doesn't really fit very well right now to what we're doing. We need I mean, like most teams, Joe, we now need to focus on the guard or even more, a little bit more size, what have you, because again, Jackson Hayes is still there. But
that's fine.
It gets a little closer.
Fine. He can play his role in depending on matchups. That's great. And you have to also factor in that he is going to be playing with Luka. He is going to play better with Luka. It's just
he'll play a lot of pick and rolls.
We got at this point, all the talking is done. Absolutely done. Now it's time to perform.
But yeah, a defensive-minded guard would be helpful for the backcourt.
Oh man, I don't even.
I'm gonna give credit to Darren on that one. Even when we throw him compliments, he'll probably snap at us. But yes, Darren mentioned that a defensive-minded guard is something that we need, and I would agree.
It's someone in the buyout market. That'd be great to get, so that you can use them during the regular season. But this team is set for the playoffs. There's going to be a 7-man rotation that's going to be playing game in, game out, and it's set. It's already set. It's going to be Luka, it's going to be Gabe, it's going to be DFS, it's going to be LeBron and Williams, and then you're going to have Rui and AR consistently being the rotation, with a couple of guys like Jackson Hayes and whatnot throwing in there every now and then. That's it. This is the 7-man rotation is set to make a run here, guys. If these guys stay healthy, they are going to be scary. They are going to be scary. I'd rather not trade anybody anymore right now. I'd rather, because there's a chemistry here. There's a flow going. You don't want to mess that up. And guys like Mark Williams and Luka only enhance what they're doing. Their games will complement their game, the way they've been playing, even more. Man, wow. I am beyond impressed.
I would not start Vando. I would not start Vando at guard though, guys, because again, he just cannot shoot or score.
And that's why I didn't mention him in the 7. You'll be able to use Jackson Hayes and Vando in spots, but he can't. You saw both those guys get exposed in the playoffs, guys. If they can't score, it's just going to be very hard for them to be effective. However, they are going to be valuable during the regular season. Go ahead, Sean. I'll shut up.
Go ahead, Sean.
Never shut up, Joe.
He did when Luka got traded.
Yes, he did. That was the only time I've ever seen the man silent. Anyway.
Empire Jeff said it best. Bronny James may win a chip.
But Gerald, the big jump. See, and I'm glad both you and Joe brought up Vando, because this is a great opportunity for people to explore the difference in potentiality. We hear that word a lot, don't you, Joe? Don't we? Potential. Oh, he has the potential.
Yes.
Mark Williams improved offensively so much so that you can't take him off. You can't play him off the floor anymore, Gerald. Now, in a playoff series, he improved that much, and he's only been in the league less time than Vando, and he's improved his offensive repertoire. See, that's a French word. And he's got some tools on his belt that Vando doesn't. And that's why you need to include Williams in like a core 7 for a playoff run, because you can't play him off the floor. But like Joe said, you could play Vando off the floor. Like Gerald said, you could play Vando off the floor. Stone said it. You could play Vando off the floor. You can't do that with Mark Williams now.
Yep. Corbin is suggesting Hardaway. Hardaway doesn't play good defense, though. I mean, he is
Not
streaky.
anymore.
Yeah, just ask the We Talk Mavs guys. Listen to them for about 15 minutes. They are
Tim
very
Hardaway
insightful
Jr.,
on.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Darren, Ali was just talking about Simmons offhanded. But again, don't worry about Simmons. Simmons is not coming to the Lakers, at least not until he becomes a free agent. Then he can decide to do what he wants. But yeah, we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, again, there's still an issue of defense on this team as far as on the perimeter. But I don't DFS and Vando, Joe. I mean, obviously that helps your defense tremendously the way they've been playing as of late. DFS, I hope again he elevates himself to being a little bit more of a scorer. But even if he doesn't, you've got Luka and LeBron to make up for it. As long as he can shoot and continue to shoot the way he's doing right now, around 40%, I think that will keep him on the floor because his defense has been pretty solid. But that shooting guard with Christie gone, where do you think they need to go next? Because again, the perimeter defense is the only thing I see as far as now is the glaring weakness. Maybe a little bit more size, but again, even with that, what Darren was saying, defensively, perimeter help might be needed. They still have time. It's over. People said don't get greedy. People say don't get greedy.
No.
And
When you're a Dodger fan, you get greedy. You win a championship, then you sign everybody. And by the way, most of those people that signed took less money too on top of it. No, you don't. This is not. We're not the Lakers and Dodgers are not in the settlement business. They're in the greedy business. Okay, LeBron James has a title to win, and I'm not talking about championships. Really, I'm talking about all-time title. And right now, within the last 4 days, Rob Pelinka essentially told LeBron James, "I'm going to give you one more shot for screwing up the Westbrook thing. I'm going to give you one more shot." And that's what he gave him. I mean, he gave him the biggest shot I've ever seen. I just can't wait for Saturday. I know they got to play with the Warriors tomorrow, but I have already cleared. I know that there's a chance he might not play, but I've also cleared Monday too.
ESPN thinks. Well, no, ESPN thinks that he is. ESPN
I believe he is because he was. Yeah, he was slated to come.
Flexed.
Yes,
they flexed the game in.
So that means they probably have good information that he's going to play there. But that was said before. He was going to play on the 8th if he was still in Dallas.
Hey, beyond that, dig this. This is the first time in Lakers history you're going to wear the home Sunday whites on a Saturday.
Wow, I didn't know that.
On a Saturday, you're wearing the home Sunday whites for Luka's first game. And it's only fitting. He should be in the white his first game. I agree.
I don't believe it. I can't believe this is happening.
Ali is asking a question here on the Kings. Why would they want to go with the Chicago Bulls West and bring back a reunion for DeRozan and Levine? They did get a lot of picks, by the way, for that. So
They
Molly,
want their audition. So those two guys are going to finish the game in the fourth quarter, Gerald. But quite honestly, this is the Kings. This is the Kings trying to figure out who's staying and who's leaving.
yeah,
And they're looking real hard at Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis because for whatever reason, Murray thrived under Mike Brown. And Gerald, it's still confounding to me how I don't know how or why Keon Ellis ended up in Mike Brown's doghouse, but he is a dog. He is a dog out there. He's a very good NBA basketball player. And, if the Sacramento Kings don't want him, we'll take him.
I just want to mention from Dave McMenamin, Mark Williams has missed some time early in his career from a small fracture in his left foot. However, Lakers are confident in his medicals and that Williams' injury never required surgery. So again, Joe, that's been his question. It's not been the talent. It's been his availability. And you always say, what's the best ability?
His
Availability.
So he had a back issue too that's healed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is it. This is his chance to. He is on he has 2 years left on his contract. He's going to likely play his rear end off to get a big contract and be a part of what could be a run of riches, and not only in money but also in notoriety and also championships. This I did not in any. I know a lot of people don't watch the NBA like Sean and I and Gerald do, but guys, that's why you're watching us. This is why. You're not expected to know what sometimes we know. And we live flexible lives so that we're allowed time to do this. A lot of you I know don't have that luxury, and we understand it. You got to play this, dude. Hold on. I'll finish what I have to say.
Oh, man. I hope I don't get a copyright strike.
No, you won't.
Sorry. In your honor, I'm
Again, it's not coming up with volume.
Sorry.
That's
It's
okay.
okay. I just wanted to hear that one part.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
So this guy actually sang to the judge. He sang to the judge for whatever crime he did. And, of course, the title was Laker fans apologizing to Rob Pelinka.
No. Everything we said about him was true.
I'm talking about from the transaction standpoint.
Take care, Jeff. Remember, go ahead, everyone.
Where
out
you
there,
going, Jeff? What is this? It's 9:53. What are you going to sleep? Don't tell me you're busy. We're all busy.
Hopefully join us tomorrow.
By the way, Gerald. By the way, you gotta love the New Orleans Pelicans pulling a Dallas Maverick. Do you remember when Harrison Barnes got traded and they told him on the bench?
Jeez.
The same thing happened to Brandon Ingram.
Oh man,
really?
That's rough. Tapped him on the shoulder.
Yeah, he played the first half. Somebody tapped him on the shoulder as he was going, and he looked at him like, "What?" Yeah.
He's like, "You're Canadian. Get your shit together."
Rodell says at Darren, Max is going to be a good rotation player. Well, we talked about. He said I said repeatedly, and I've never swayed from this, that Max will be a rotation player in this league, if not for the Lakers, somewhere else. That was my quote. I said it from the beginning, and I'll stick to it. I think Connect ultimately has the higher upside because of his scoring ability, which Max has yet to prove. He's consistently scoring. It's been an issue for him. He does need to get stronger, as I've said repeatedly, because, for instance, if he's the one in a Dallas Lakers series guarding Luka will bully him at length. And if we've seen, that's the one real flaw in Christie's game is his strength. But I expect as he gets older to get stronger and become more capable in that area, Magic Man.
Yes, Gerald, absolutely. But this move was necessary. You need to get somebody who could play above the rim and had a little bit of grit.
Yes.
So
and young. Again, this is for the now, as I said, Joe, and as I said, Sean, that we were going to see if Rob is all in for now. But it meets both our worlds, guys. And you know the chat even earlier today.
It does, because now I don't have to live with the idea of debating whether or not I need to root for Nikola Vucevic on the Lakers, because that will never happen. That reality will never exist, Gerald. Well, at least this year. But yeah, we live in a world now where Pelinka made all the right moves so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, this meets both our worlds. I was getting lambasted earlier today because I was telling and advising that I'm in the win now mode because of LeBron, his time frame, playing at the level he is at, and I got lambasted for it. Well, they were saying that it should not be rushed into anything. They're not having to, Magic Man. They're not having to, Joe. This meets both our requirements. Somebody who is capable of playing now at a high level and is young enough at 23 to build towards the future with Luka. That's the best of both worlds, and we got that tonight, Joe, in Mark Williams.
It would, when you construct the perfect team for someone like Luka, who I don't know if a lot of people watch Luka play. It seems I think.
See, Norm doesn't even like it now. Norm, the Luka trade, I guess didn't. I'm pretty sure they said the Luka trade he didn't like. But I don't
Folks,
know. Maybe
just to
wrong,
put it in
Norm.
perspective.
Now he doesn't like this trade either.
Look, but just put it in perspective, okay? When AD was acquired in 2019, there were pundits saying that the Lakers wouldn't make the playoffs that year. Make the playoffs. The Lakers ran that entire year at an optimum level. COVID put a break on it, but they actually got better in February and March. They finally started beating some of the bigger teams. Right before the shutdown, they beat the Clippers and they made Milwaukee. They were playing stout all year. Break still kind of had a little lull in those 10 games before the playoffs, but then as soon as they got in the playoffs, they ran shot. They ran game. They did not ever slow down that year, other than that 10 games kind of reprieve, whatever it was, to get themselves ready for whatever was coming, and they went ahead and dominated that whole run. It's not. We're looking at this from what we watch. We know who these guys are, and I'm not even watching as much NBA as I used to, dude. I would have probably thought about Mark Williams if I watched enough basketball like I used to. But this came out of nowhere, and it seems like that's what Rob does. It comes out of nowhere at this point. And whomever they get whatever they get else, it doesn't matter anymore, really. You can only play 5 guys at a time, and the rotations shrink in the playoffs. So I'm looking at this from, obviously, if you want to run a nice 9-man rotation between now and the end of the year to keep people fresh, hell yeah, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. But then once the playoff starts, guys, the volume is going to get turned up, and the guys that are in charge now, remember, guys, I'm going to keep telling you this. The Lakers got 2 things that they didn't have with AD. Number 1, they had a guy that could control the game. AD could never control the game. Number 2, Luka is the clutchest player in the NBA. Sorry, De'Aaron Fox, I know you got that award before. Sorry, that award means nothing if you're not giving it to Luka. Luka is the most clutch player in the NBA right now, and they just solved that problem, which that's been the problem with those guys. They haven't been able to close out those close games a lot. Now they don't have to worry about it. They're going to be scared to death now, the LA, as soon as Luka has that ball, because he can shoot it from anywhere, anytime. He can get to the elbow. He can get to the paint. He can pass it at the right time, and he's got the horses around them to make the shots and get to the basket. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Ollie, the only way they would ever be able to get Cam Johnson is if they gave up, I think, both AR and Rui in a package.
Folks,
in order to
it's closed. It's very likely it's closed. The Lakers do not have any more assets. They don't have any viable draft capital now. They have expended it all. They are ready to make a run.
You blew your wad on the right guy, Gerald. You blew your wad on the right guy.
Yes, Homelander, you can, but you can't attach picks to it, or you cannot. You just correct, Joe. You cannot for Max. If you trade Maxi Kleber,
He's got to be
cannot,
for one. Yeah, he can't put attachments to it.
You can't
yeah.
expand a trade. It has to be 1-for-1.
And no one's going to take Kleber. He's a horse that's going to the glue factory right now.
Yep, and another year on his contract.
Unless GM wants to.
And by the way, Gerald, if Maxi Kleber is on the Lakers, you can fucking forget about Dennis Schroeder playing on the Lakers. Those guys didn't play together on Team Germany. Kleber decided it was better to train with the Mavs than train with the national team. And do you remember how that German team did in that FIBA tournament, Gerald?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yep. There's no way Dennis Schroeder and Maxi Kleber will ever be on the same NBA team, ever. Guaranteed.
Okay. Then go to Vegas, I speak, and bet the money on it. If that's what you feel, much respect to you. But, if you feel that the Lakers are not, if you still think the Thunder and the Nuggets have more, that's fine. Jokic is still the best player on the planet. I get that. Thunder have an extremely, well, hold on, let me finish. Thunder have an extremely talented team with bigs, with picks, with everything, and they're leading the Western Conference. I get that. I can't say I blame you for that. But again, in a 7-game series with a viable center, with LeBron and Luka playing at this level, they're in any game. They're in any series as far as that's concerned. They are competitive in any series, and they should not be counted out now from any series against any team in the NBA. I didn't say they would beat them. I said they would be competitive in any series now in the NBA playoffs, and I'll leave it at that. So, yeah, Gustavo, no, this team's not complete yet, but what can you do? They don't have much left to trade. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, Joe, I was just gonna say. So, just out of curiosity, what top 5 player would those who are upset or in their feelings about the Luka trade? What player would you replace him with?
As far as
No, you don't. The people are saying you don't like the trade. Okay, you don't like the trade. Let's look at it objectively.
Because it was about 60-40 on the draft night.
Yeah,
let's look it up. That night, it was 60-40.
The player you acquired has played in 6 NBA seasons. Of the 6 NBA seasons he's played in, he's been on the first All-NBA. I'll repeat that. First All-NBA 5 times. 5 times. He's played 6 seasons. He's been on the first All-NBA team 5 times. He's led the league in scoring. He's taken his team to deep playoff runs in consecutive years. He's also a crown jewel of the NBA in the sense that he could score and shoot. I know I'm repeating myself, but the Lakers haven't had somebody like this. Joe, get your olives ready. It's over for you now, buddy.
Guys, everybody on Lakers.
Joe, I think you're gonna have to. I think I'm
gonna have to.
I think you're gonna have to eat the olives, man, because of the Luka trade.
I'll eat them with you, my friend. I'll eat them with you.
I think we're gonna have to do it then. Yeah, I think you're right. So what olives are we gonna get and how much?
I don't know. I could go.
Do we have to eat the whole bottle?
Well, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Simple jar at Trader Joe's.
Since you guys did this with hold on, Gerald. Since you guys did with the chat, I think the chat should decide what olives Gerald and Joe eat.
No, I'd eat the damn olives I'll pick.
No, I don't think so, Gerald. I don't.
No, because the chat.
I have to eat the black olives, Sean, because that's the ones I can't stand. I got to go all the way. I got to stay with my word. I mean, I'm kind of going sidestepping.
He said black olives. Remember, said black olives to start off.
You're not sidestepping. You and Gerald won the bet. with the chat, but it's just an amendment at this point because
Yeah,
there's
we're
nobody saw the Luka trade coming, and
yeah.
but they might end up in that position at the end of the year anyway. So you guys might as well just eat the olives.
Darren says in the super chat, thank you so much again, Darren. I know we're hard on each other, but we still got much love for you, my friend. Going to misconnect, but glad we got the big we need.
Well,
Yes, we will misconnect. Although, if you want to buy his jersey, it's going to be drastically reduced.
Well, if ADs were 50% off, how much are Dalton's going to be?
Oh, Lucas was over 50% off. If you noticed when it was posted up the first time on screen, yeah. So,
yeah, Gerald, I do have to say we probably do have to mourn the fact that for the most part, the chat is not going to be at each other's throats anymore because we're going to win a lot of games.
Exactly. I'm just eating black olives. I'm just keep it simple. Joe hates black olives. I hate black olives. We're just gonna leave it at black olives, and there you go. That's the one, right, Joe? Just
I think that the chat.
I hate him too.
We should get the big scooper, and you go into Subway and dip right into those black olives, and Joe and Jill just eat them.
We'll figure it out. I just sent the message to my boys at Lakers Ball. They've been hounding me about these olives every 5 freaking other posts.
But Joe, we won the bet, Joe.
I know, but this warrants what's happened. Circumvented the conditions of the bet.
I hate olives, but I'll tell you what, even on a pizza, but I'll do it. I'll eat black olives too, just to help you out, Joe. See,
thank you, I appreciate it.
Friend.
We will schedule. We will schedule it.
Go down with you. We're the Titanic, and we're going to go down together.
Do either of you two gentlemen enjoy mushrooms?
Yes, I love mushrooms.
I love mushrooms. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So it's not the rubber texture of the olives.
No. It's the bitterness and the
aftertaste.
Yeah, it's the bitterness.
I'm just gonna buy a $2 jar at Trader Joe's or Walmart or somewhere, Smith's or whatever. And that's gonna be. I'm just gonna.
I can handle green olives, but that wouldn't be a punishment. It's the black ones that my mouth just does not like.
Yeah, yuck. We'll grow on all the positive things going on.
You eat with your nose, so your nose receptors are they hate the black olives, Joe.
But Xbox, if you could still jump on, man, we still want to hear your thoughts. If you can come on, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I know Zach couldn't make it tonight.
Get off that nude Bondi Beach and come. Well, I wouldn't ask you to do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be leaving. Your ass wouldn't be here, Sean. Just shut up, man.
All right, yes, you're right.
You'd be like, yeah, you'd be like staring at the beach, and you'd be like, yeah, Xbox, go ahead. They're waiting for you, man. I'll catch up with you later, buddy.
Xbox have a good one. Mark is going to have a little bit more juice. He's going to have a little bit more juice when he
is in Surfer's Paradise
when he's congregating next.
Indeed.
But, see what you did there,
Darren, olive oil doesn't bother me. Olive oil, I put olive oil on all my food. My pans when I'm making eggs. I don't mind olive oil. It's different.
Let me go ahead and bring up the roster as it stands right now. And again, Jovan Buha has stated the Lakers have officially gone all in on this season, as I said, and the Luka Doncic LeBron James pairing. As I said, they traded AD, Max Christie, and Dalton Connect, and both of their tradable first-round picks. So yes, there you go. Pretty obvious tweet right there, Jovan. But let me go ahead and bring you guys up to speed on the actual particulars for the roster as it stands right now. I'm going to go ahead and bring that up for you here in just a second. But yeah, tell us, Joe, your thoughts on this roster as it shapes out. There's still, you said that's it. I would believe you if that's it, because really there's not many places they could go or not many assets they give unless you start thinking about, AR and his, future with the Lakers, because even though, again, you and I think that he is the perfect sixth man, he may not think he's a perfect sixth man because he is averaging 18 and 6 on the season. He's one of only a few players in the NBA to do so. So that being said, I think there is that in the back of our minds, but this team is going all in, Joe. So we'll see what happens.
Here's where they stand. There is no urgency anymore now. If somebody calls them and says, "Hey, we want Austin and we'll give you X player," and it's someone that would be wow, it'd be a wow factor, then yeah, sure. But there's no urgency anymore. This team is set to do what it needs to do, and all that can stop it is injuries. That's the only thing that could ruin this is injuries, and that's it. That's all that's left. They have enough depth. They have enough starting player power in perfect positions. It's what can you say, man? I think the starting five should be DFS. DFS can play the 4 and the 3. I don't know if Rui can play the 3, and I don't know if LeBron can play the 3. So my preference would be to put DFS at the 3 and put LeBron at the 4, and then you can use Rui. Again, matchups should dictate this. If you guys remember, Frank Vogel, he used different lineups sometimes. In that game 6 in the finals, he switched out Caruso from the bench to the starting lineup in that game, and you saw what they did in the first half. They absolutely just bum rushed Miami. They couldn't do jack squat, and they were up 30 by the time the half was over.
So, yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Sean. I'm just giving an idea of everybody there, but go ahead as far as on the roster.
Yeah, no, Gerald, I was just gonna say Luka's a headhunter. Mm-hmm. He's a headhunter. He's going to exploit matchups.
Yep.
And it's like having a great line in football. Mm-hmm. If I have a great line in football, I really only need to run like 2 run plays, like an inside zone and an outside zone or trap, right, Joe? And if you can't stop me, I'm just going to keep running the same 2 plays over and over again until you figure something out. And that's kind of what I love about Luka, is that he, like we were saying, it's his team. I called him Mozart because he runs the orchestra. He is the conductor of the orchestra, and it's going to be a matchup driven offense rather than running inverted Spain pick and rolls or dives with a trap in the mid range. You're going to see a lot of just going after matchups over and over again. And Gerald, let's be honest about this as well. This is kind of they're going to be using games as practice.
Yeah, to get continuity together, chemistry together. That's going to take a little time to work with each other on that. I get that, but that's what the rest of the season is all about, John. The only thing, again, that scares me, I mean, they fixed a little bit of their rebounding issues and woes, obviously bringing in a double-digit player, again, with Mark Williams. Could they use a little bit more beef along the front line? Yes. Could they use a little bit more defense along the perimeter? Yes. But right now, it's a team that can play with anyone. I think that team is capable of playing with any team in the NBA. I feel more confident in saying that. I couldn't have said that before, Joe, this time last week with what they have or looked like what they were going to get.
No, they were stuck, guys. If you go back to when did the trade happen? Like around between 8 and 9 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. If you go back to 7 o'clock on Saturday, we were discussing what this team is going to be when LeBron is gone. We had no idea. We talked about it even before. Are you gonna have AD be the guy and build around him? Sure, but then again, if LeBron kept playing, you're gonna get an older AD, and he's got a lot of miles. This guy's been playing since he's 19, right? So there's a lot of you have to factor in the miles too, not just the age. Plus, AD has never really shown, other than maybe 1.5 years as a Laker, that he can take the initiative and be the difference maker. He hadn't shown that the last 3 years. So you were stuck. I guess if you had to be objective and not think of it as a Laker fan, you probably would have had to have said, well, as soon as LeBron retires, let's say he retired in 2026 to fulfill his contract, you probably would have had to have traded AD after that. And his value would have been less a year and a half from now on top of it. So the Lakers were screwed then, right? They would have had to have rebuilt. They would have to hope for a draft pick that works. They don't have to do any of that now. They revamped. And not only did they revamp, they have a young team other than LeBron. They got rid of the other 30-year-old.
Joe, we were one of the youngest teams. We actually got younger.
You got younger. Yeah. Guys, what does Stu Lance say?
A 23-year-old and a 25-year-old.
Sean, what does Stu Lance say? He says it at least 10 times a year during a broadcast. This is NBA a young man's league.
Game. Yep.
It's a young man's game. And look, no one knows that more than Stu. Stu was a former NBA player. He's been doing TV for almost 40 years. No one knows more than Chick. I'm sorry. No one knows more than Stu. Chick knew too. So, yeah, got younger, got better, and they actually have depth. Come on, guys. This was the fleece of the century.
This is like, this is like the Chris Paul trade in 2 different trades 13 years later.
Boom. That deserves a...
Yes.
Attribution.
Yes. But yeah, people are asking about Koloko. Koloko, again, he's on a 2-way. He's not been impressive at all with the Lakers. Again, I don't know what you guys are thinking and when you see him, because he has really not done much when given the opportunities, guys. He is not ready to play quality minutes in this league at this point in time. He may be at some point in time, but it's not right now. I would keep that roster spot open, see what other alternatives, or God forbid, you still have time. You could do a trade or see what the buyout market for players 15 million and under are like. And then at the very end of the season, or when the games run out on Koloko's 2-way, go ahead and, if you have no other alternative, then go ahead and use them at that.
What are we going to do tomorrow? What are we going to do tomorrow? Everything happened
they'll still want us on the air. We'll still have to comment on the air on the trades. And then, of course, obviously people want us to talk about it and then stress. So
we'll be talking about it, obviously. Yeah, the setups.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Definitely looking forward to it. It is 9 a.m. in the morning Pacific time. We'll be on. We promised you that. So we'll go ahead and bring you the NBA trade deadline special. So hopefully you will join us for that. I'm still ready to hang on, but I don't know if Xbox, are you just coming on, man? We'd like to have your thoughts. We'd like to hear your thoughts on the Mark Williams trade. Yes, we could do a Mark Williams breakdown tomorrow. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, but the Lakers have $15 million for the buyout. No, that's not the way it is, Brian. No. When a player gets bought out, the only thing that you can sign him to is a minimum. So let's say Ben Simmons and his $40 million contract, he gets waived. That $40 million is still being eaten up by Brooklyn. But a team can sign him, Magic Man. Most likely they'll just sign him to the minimum. Let's say it's somebody under for him it'd be somebody under the cap. Let's say the Clippers. The Clippers signed Ben Simmons. They would most likely only need to sign him for the minimum. That way, Brooklyn still has to pay all but whatever the $2 million or $1 million or whatever, how much left is prorated on that $40 million. They'll still be stuck with it. while the Clippers only have to pay him like the 1 million or whatever change that they would have to pay him for the rest of the season. That's how it works. But for the Lakers, since they are tax saver team, the only buyout players they can look at are players that earn $15 million or less. Well, actually, 14,900,000.
Yeah.
Well,
You can't, Gerald. Then you can't manipulate it. You can't play games where a player maybe voids his 8% or 15% trade kicker, and then you think that gets you below the 15 million, and somehow you can sign that. It doesn't work like that. It's a straight 15 million.
Yes, absolutely. I asked Joe this earlier about Lonzo's extension, Lonzo Ball, and all this chaos. I still don't get it. I just think maybe it tells me that he's a culture guy and that Chicago likes having him around. But to pay $20 million for a 7-point backup point guard that gets 7 points coming off of such horrific knee injuries, at one time we thought his career was over. I don't know. I think it's kind of sketchy. I think this Chicago front office, their days are numbered. But Magic Man, what did you think about the Lonzo Ball extension and all this?
I thought the same thing, Gerald. But again, like you said, it's a culture thing. And if Gerald, I've got something here for you. If you want to just pull it up.
Okay. I think it's a culture thing with him.
I think it is too, because look, the Bull. The Bulls are fourth in attendance.
Mm-hmm.
See who's number one. Well, that won't last long.
Yes, that won't last long. But the Bulls are number 4.
They are number 4, and like you said, Gerald, I believe it is. I believe it is a culture with the Bulls. I get WGN up here, so occasionally I will watch Bull games because I'm still a fan of Io, Gerald. If somehow Io became available,
and the great defensive guard,
Lakers,
that's a defensive guard.
That's a defensive guard right there.
Yes,
now,
yes, Dosunmu, by the way, Io Dosunmu, who you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yeah, it's the Mavs, the Sixers, the Bulls. What I read on Reddit and the rest of the message boards is that these teams do a great job of entertaining the fans in the arena, like the ones more inclined to social media and the games and all the bright noises and shiny things, rather than actually paying attention to the product you came to watch. You're paying attention to all the bright noises and shiny things. And they do a good job of that by keeping the fans distracted from the piss poor product on the court. And I think you're right. I think it's more of a culture thing, Gerald. They haven't traded Colby White, who's a fan favorite in Chicago, but Colby White, I think, would spread his wings if he was on a decent team, Gerald, or a contending team. I think he would end up being a different player. But yeah, I mean, and by the way, that extension doesn't preclude Ball from potentially being traded. But like you said, Gerald, it makes me wonder, who would want to trade, especially with that kind of term for a player who's has a long laundry list of injury history.
There's Jovan Buha, who has not been right very much so far this trade session right now. He doesn't look like he has a really an inline to the organization as much as he thought he would thought he did 2 weeks ago. But still, he's stating in terms of remaining assets, they could realistically be moved by the 12 p.m. deadline on Thursday. The Lakers have Maxi Kleber's salary, which is $11 million plus one more season. Christian Wood, who has got an expiring for $3 million. Shake Milton, he has a non-guarantee after this season. He makes right around $3 million. The 2025 second-round pick, 2026 and 2028 first-round pick swaps, Joe. Just wanted to let you know that. They could technically still move Rui or Gabe or AR but his understanding is that they want to preserve the core of the rotation as much as possible. Now, he's been wrong before, Joe, in the past couple weeks, so I'll leave it at that. But neither player could likely net them much anyway with limited draft capital remaining. Williams replaces their ninth man and jumps into the starting lineup. So there you go. That's the asset they have left. Of course, the biggest asset is still Austin Reeves, which he neglected to mention there. If somebody really wants Austin Reeves, I think he could be gettable, but of course, you don't have anything really outside the swaps to go ahead and do it. But again, I think that the Lakers are pretty much settled at this point in time, and we'll have to figure out the stuff along the fringes, maybe with whatever buyouts they can get.
Well, it looks like Mr. What is this? Brett Siegel says the Lakers may not be done before Thursday's afternoon's deadline.
Let's hope not.
I don't
hope
know
not.
if that's a little generalizing. A little generally.
Jovan says they're essentially done. Brett says they're not.
Why don't we get really greedy? Why don't we get really greedy?
Well, Thameless
Rui, Vincent, Shake.
Okay.
Plus Christian Wood for the 26, 28 first round swaps for Jalen Suggs.
But the thing is, Magic, he's one of the best defensive guards in the league.
Oh,
and I know
it'd be lights out, Joe. It'd be lights out. I could put Suggs, DFS, and JV and hound all your perimeter guards at the top of the Western Conference.
Just don't ask him to shoot threes. It's kind of still kind of funky at this point. I mean, which as Orlando sees, but yeah. Darren says, "Who cares? Lakers will smash the Warriors if they have the audacity to come out and play." Tomorrow, we don't know what kind of roster we're getting tomorrow, but
neither does Golden
LeBron
State,
will still be there, and hopefully,
neither does Golden State.
At this point, because they got a lot older today with Golden State got older and not really a whole lot better, in my opinion. And the Lakers got younger and better. I mean, Jimmy Butler, I don't know, 35.
It's the Golden State checkers versus the LA chess.
Well, they're little like I'm not prone to do it, but I'm such a big David Bowie fan. I'm almost inclined to play a 24-25 Warrior season prospectus, Gerald, so far with the song Golden Years by David Bowie. Because I think it would fit this old over the hill. I don't think they got much better. I think they're a playing team.
And they gave him an extension.
An extension too. 2 years, $111 million.
Alan, Schroeder does qualify for that if he is waived. Most likely he will be waived unless he's traded somewhere else. But Sean has mentioned that Cleveland would be interested in him, and the allure of playing in Cleveland might be too much for him to pass up. But yes, he would be somebody I would be interested in because he does hound on defense. He can hit shots, he can score, and be someone good off the bench. Although he doesn't fit that 6'5", 6'6" guy that you want to shoot at, playing off Luka. But still, any defensive help on the perimeter would be greatly appreciated at this point in time, or additional beef to go ahead and bump Jackson Hayes down a little bit more. At this point, again, we're going to get greedy. Thameless, I think was it last night or the other night, Joe said, Joey Q, by the way, he said, you guys can't get greedy. When I talked about the Orlando trade that I had come up with, the mock trade, he said, you guys can't be greedy. Yes, Joe and Sean, we can be greedy. This is a business. The NBA is all about winning. The Lakers should always, what did we say all the time on this show, Joe? The Lakers should always be about championships. We constantly get called out because, guys, we're having a good season. We're above 500. You guys still sound like it's so terrible. You sound as Debbie Downers, whatnot. And what do we always say, Joe? We want the Lakers to win championships and nothing else matters. And right now, the
And
Lakers have put
nothing
themselves.
else matters.
Exactly. Great song. Great song. But your thoughts, Joe? Again, we've constantly been called out all season for this. And in the end, it looks like we were right once again.
Yeah, the Lakers are about championships, and the Celtics just passed us again a few months ago. It's time to even this out now.
It's about 19, guys. About 19.
It's about 19, and they have a hell of a better chance doing it now than they did 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yep. I'm ready. My body is ready and mind.
Yes.
Ah.
I think it's too late on that one. Getting Cam Whitmore right now, Corbina.
Hey, why don't we just get everybody, guys? Get Jokic, get Giannis, just get everybody.
But you know what the funny thing is now? All you jerk offs out there who were laughing at our fan base for putting every superstar in a Lakers jersey. That one that everybody put Luke in. You think that's just a one off? Do you? Let's go down the Rolodex for everybody, Joe, because maybe people aren't as in tune to Lakers history. So let's go down the roll call, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Wilt Chamberlain traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Shaquille O'Neal signed with the Los Angeles Lakers. Pau Gasol traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. Luka Doncic traded to the Los Angeles Lakers.
AD. And it would have been CP3 if they didn't veto.
That's 7. That's 7 Hall of Famers.
And LeBron arrived.
Wow.
So it's 8. So trades and free agency. 8. 8 mega, super, Hall of Fame, greatest of all time, greatest in their positions players. And you could even say Kobe, but you didn't know at the time, was traded for, right? It's just, unbelievable.
Corbina, I would not do anything with Phoenix. I want to let them stew in it, that second tax apron. I really want to just grind it in there because they're now stuck with Beal. They're maybe stuck with Durant unless he's traded somewhere else. They're stuck with that second tax apron. Getting Grayson Allen, getting Royce O'Neal. I mean, those are complementary players. I don't want to help them at all because that's like 20, 30, 40, 50 million coming off their tax. I don't want to help them out at all. They wanted that super team. They wanted that second tax apron. They can stew in it. I want to just let them stew in it. And that's me. I may be wrong in that, but guys, your thoughts on that? I just think that right now, Phoenix, they dug themselves into a hole and they're going to have to live with it. The Nick Richards trade was good, but who knew Charlotte was going to be selling not one, but 2 centers, both young, cheap, athletic. Crazy. Man, sucker born every minute.
Yeah, Gerald. And not only that, I mean, remember when everybody wanted to give James Jones the executive of the year after that KD trade at the deadline? And now James Jones wants to be the most unknown executive in the NBA. Staying quiet, all quiet on the Western Front with the Suns, Gerald. When is their first round pick frozen? What year is that, Gerald?
I think it's because I think they go to the back of the line this year, if that's correct, because they're in the second tax apron, both them and Boston.
I'll double
Milwaukee. Milwaukee is technically under the second tax apron with the trade that they made with Kuzma. So I think it's only. Is it only?
They
Phoenix,
were
Boston?
They were able to unload DeLon Wright, Gerald. That got them under.
Oh yeah, no, Springer just got traded as well. That took $50 million off of the cap for Boston. or not 50 million, but quite a few millions out the cap for Boston. So I don't know if they're under the second tax apron officially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only Phoenix right now in the second tax apron. Okay. Wow. That's the case. That's going to be something to see after the trade deadline. Although Boston, by this time next season, they go way back
Mhm.
into the second tax apron on those. Both those extensions really kick in with Brown and Tatum. So they're really going to have to, whatever new owner they get is really going to have to figure that one out. But yeah, Phoenix, I would just let them stew in it. But there is something I think that we need to still get here or there. But for now, I think that we've got a team that can compete at a high level. Sports Baby says, yeah, well, I asked Sports Baby because Sports Baby was said, "Are you concerned with all the injury history with Williams and with Luka?" And I said, Would you take him on Indiana if the same things were offered you?" And Sports Baby said, "I would take him any day of the week, but I would have that in mind that Luka misses 20 games in every season." Well, was it 20 to be eligible, Joe?
You have to have 65 games.
It's
So
17. You can
17.
only admit 17.
Yeah, so he's out this year because it's extended, but I have a feeling if he's close in MVP, if the Lakers are doing well, I have a feeling he'll stay healthy around, what'd you say again, guys? 17 games?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I have a feeling if he's close, yeah, he'll find a way.
Honestly, Gerald, and I'm not one to just try and compare eras. Or that being said, let's go back to when they acquired Powell. Powell had an injury history as well. He broke his foot in Memphis. He had knee injuries here, there, tendonitis issues. There were questions about Powell's health when he got traded to the Lakers. That was scuttlebutt among analysts. There was scuttlebutt amongst analysts about trading for backbench player that nobody thought would ever see the light of day, and his name was Trevor Ariza. Trevor Ariza had foot ailments in both New York and Orlando. The Lakers also acquired Adam Morrison and Shannon Brown. Both dealt with injuries in their short time with Charlotte. And as we move forward, basically 16, 17 years later, Gerald, there's concerns about Luka Doncic's injuries and his conditioning, and there's concerns about Mark Williams. I've heard this story before. There's been, like Joe said, the only thing that can derail this is injuries. But why don't we try putting on a hat where, because they're in a new environment, we're not just going to go off what they did. Because what happened in the past doesn't matter anymore because you're a Laker. I don't care what you did in Charlotte. I don't care what you did in Dallas. This is LA, baby. This is LA.
Jeremy, just to let you know, Mark Williams was a first-round draft choice by Charlotte. He was always projected to be ahead of Nick Richards, but that's not meaning that Nick Richards is a slouch. Actually, when you look at it, Charlotte up until this, few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Joe, had one of the most admirable center tandems in the league in Nick Richards and Mark Williams. And in recent days, they've gotten rid of both their young, talented, inexpensive centers. Again, I'm just blown away by how that some individuals just run a franchise at this point, Joe. Because
Yeah.
you and I have this conversation. Let's say we're running Charlotte. Let's say Magic Man, we're all on the board, Charlotte. That thought wouldn't even cross our minds as far as they're concerned. Because center is the one position that they had depth on for years to come. And now in the span of 2 weeks, they've blown it. And
Have to
okay,
rely on Taj Gibson, who's 39, to play center.
there you go. Oh,
Some
absolutely.
some owners are just not interested in winning. They just want to make a profit, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they could have they were not winning. They could have kept this core together, and then if they had won the lottery, could have gotten the best player in the country right now, and maybe had a shot to start competing much like Detroit is right now. Just, I don't know what they're doing over there, guys. I told you guys, I don't know why they gave that franchise another shot. They should have never brought the team to Charlotte again. They should have figured out a way to go somewhere else. And I still wish Vancouver had a team.
Brian, actually, yes, they had always, Williams was always the way he was picked, the way he has played to slightly better than Richards. Richards is also a little bit more rugged, but they're both double machines. They both can get you that and average that on the season. Yes, Charlotte. Well, actually, you're incorrect, Brian, because Charlotte did not choose Williams over Richards. They did when they were playing together, but ultimately they chose to send them both packing.
Yeah, they chose
packing.
They chose first round picks over Nick Richards and Mark Williams. Yeah, so
they sent them both packing. So in essence, they got rid of both of them. So they didn't choose one over the other. They chose to send them both packing, which again blows me away. Yes, he is a lob threat, Jeremy. Yes, go look at the highlights. He is a lob threat. He's athletic. Injury issues are his deal, which I think that's the reason why Charlotte decided to go ahead and say, you know what, we're just like Luka. Conditioning, injury issues, what have you, is obviously the key with Mark Williams because he's not played anywhere near 3/4 of a season, much less a full season in his 3 years in the league. But again, 23 guys, 23 7-footer. As Kurt pointed out, he's got the longest standing reach in the league at 9'9", ahead of Wemby.
Luka's gonna spread that ball like butter on toast.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. But yeah, just a very good time for us right now. We asked if they should just go ahead and go all in or just wait till the summer, build for the future. I think we got our answer, guys. They did a little bit of both. This is
and Gerald, I'm also pleased. I'm also pleased that Pelinka is following either his own philosophy or JJ's philosophy about the way they want to play. He immediately identified that when he had Luka, he needed to find a center who could play above the rim.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And he, in foresight, also acquired DFS. And now the last thing you need is another shooter. You can never have enough shooting in the NBA playoffs. It's like having defensemen in the NHL. Playoffs are a long haul. You can never have enough shooting in the NBA playoffs. One more, and I feel very, very good, very confident about whomever comes the Lakers' way in the playoffs.
I'll say this. JY said, you think if Rob wasn't talking down on the market so much as he did in his press conference, the Lakers wouldn't have had to give up Dalton. I think they were going to give up Dalton regardless. I think that's just
one of them was going. Yeah, I agree with you. One of them was going. We couldn't keep Connect and Reeves. One of them was on their way out if we needed to acquire a center.
Joe, your thoughts on that as well?
What's the question?
As far as, do you think that if Rob hadn't made those comments that he did on the center market being a tad bit dry, that was his exact quote, that they wouldn't have had to give up Dalton in that scenario?
No, that had nothing to do with it. What Rob said about building through the draft and during JJ Redick's press conference and what he said during Luka's conference was a standard PC line of all executives to set up the eventual "wow, I didn't know that we would have that opportunity" line. Rob has slayed everything in the last month.
He's getting me on board, Joe. He's getting me on board.
I'm on board. I'm on board for life. He has LA privileges for life.
Just the Westbrook trade, let's just leave that to the side. He could be authoring one of the best and one of the worst trades in Lakers history.
If,
I'm just glad that hold on. I'm just glad that the best came after the worst, and I'll just leave it at that.
if the Lakers, there's a lot at stake here. There's a I cannot wait to see Luka be motivated. He is going to be motivated, folks. A guy like that, a guy competitive like that, he is going to want blood. And then LeBron has his situation has been resurrected. He was pretty content probably 6 months ago that he was going to end with 4 championships. Now he has a little bit of an opening. I mean, could you imagine? Let's kind of think outside here a little bit, and in the rainbow, in the beautiful sun, and the beautiful clouds. What's gonna happen? What would happen if the Lakers ended up winning the championship now? The league would flip.
Yes.
LeBron would get his 5th. Dallas would probably disintegrate. It would be catastrophic for everyone, and of course for us Laker fans. We just sit back and go,
It's like that. It's like that scene from The Dark Knight. But we only have room for one more, so we're gonna have tryouts.
Tryouts. Make it quick.
Sorry, SB, but yes, his first expected date back is on Saturday against the Indiana Pacers.
So, Gerald, as we
ESPN has moved the game and flexed the game into a national TV spot. Go ahead, Magic Man.
Yeah, Gerald. There's really no other. Knock on wood, but there's really no other earth-shattering move to happen in the NBA. That they've all been made.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Well, I mean, nobody, very few people thought that consecutive trades would be made in back-to-back days, where Luka goes, Jimmy Butler goes, De'Aaron Fox goes. I don't think there's, and the only reason I said that, Joe, is because there's really no other situation unique as what happened in Dallas. Every other superstar that we see in the NBA is relatively content, other than
Zion Williamson.
Hey, we'll also see about Anthony Edwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, all the moves have been made. So OKC made their moves. They made their 2 big moves. They signed Hartenstein and they traded for Alex Caruso. So their team is set. Houston is set. They couldn't get De'Aaron Fox, so they're going to have to ride with the young guns. See how far they can go. Memphis wasn't able to secure Jimmy Butler. I don't know why Chris Wallace and Taylor Jenkins thought that would be a good idea, Joe. I don't see Jimmy Butler ever meshing with Ja or Desmond Bain or Brent or Triple J, any of the. That being said, so then we go to the top again, Denver. Denver's in a pretty much a similar situation to us. They're really up against the cap. They can't really afford to make a big move either, Gerald. I believe both Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. are both extension eligible in the next 2 to 3 years. So they're going to pay one or both of those guys, and they're getting older. So this is a prime opportunity now because there's nobody else. Those are the 4 teams. It's those 4 teams standing in the way of the Lakers.
Indeed. Absolutely. But for now, Mark Williams is a Los Angeles Laker. Icing on the cake, Joe. Icing on the cake. Oh, you can't? Okay. No worries, Xbox. We'll probably close that at around 3 hours. Then we got a long day tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Even though, again, it may be sort of anticlimactic, but I'll try to see if I get some Lakerholics or some other guests to come on to talk to fill the time.
And
Magic Man, you're cordially invited as well for our special tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Gerald. And I was just gonna say, Gerald, and even if Memphis wanted to get in on a big hoss like the Lakers and Warriors, they'd have to give up Santi Aldama, wouldn't they, Gerald?
Yep, and Edie, probably.
Yeah.
I would ask my first thing I'd ask for is Aldama and Edie. And there you go. And Xbox right now would probably be Kusip, who likes Memphis a lot, would probably be, yeah. But yeah, Kurt, Laker Tom didn't even predict this one. Nobody predicted this again. It was a name that was not even out there. Not we did, not anyone else did. Joe, and Sean, but Joe, bring it back to you. This completely came out of left field. Once again,
there was a guy on one of the Laker forums that I talked to that predicted this.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it was essentially the 31st pick connect for Mark Williams. He said it on Tuesday.
Both Williams and DFS are extension eligible next year, Gerald. I'd be shocked if both of them didn't extend.
Remember though, DFS is 31. So
He is,
yeah.
but he's also Luca's
True.
Boy. That's his
And
boy.
31 is not old.
Depends
I
on.
think I think a 2 or 3 year extension is.
3 years. Yeah, that could still work. That could still work. Yeah, bring Jay Huff back. Yeah, he's on a contract with Memphis right now.
Yeah,
that's one we let go. Zubats we let go. Yeah,
I think it's time. I think it's time to shut the show down. I think we're
no. Well,
I'm not talking about Jay Huff now.
Well, hey, we don't need to talk about Zubats anymore either.
No, but still hurts
we
nonetheless.
got Mark Williams.
Yeah, I'm done talking about the past. It's time to look forward. I don't want to discuss Westbrook and all that garbage. I'm ready to start thinking about a potential title run here.
Absolutely.
That's just bad energy and negative energy that I don't really need right now.
It's baggage, folks. It's
baggage. That's a better word. Baggage.
That's what Joe's talking about.
Yeah, I don't give a shit what happened. Yeah, I don't give a shit what happened before Saturday. It's over. Look forward. If it's in a discussion, that's fine. But I don't give a shit what happened before anymore. I don't care.
I don't either.
Okay. And with that, it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Tomorrow we will be on at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, heading through the trade deadline, talking about the trades. I don't know what kind of trade deadline it'll be because there's been a lot of action, a flurry of action already.
Gerald. So let's there's usually always somebody that everyone knows is going to get traded on the deadline, and it happens. So who's your guarantee, Gerald? Guarantee to get traded tomorrow?
Dennis Schroeder.
He won't be traded. He'll be let go.
Joe?
No, he's still on a good contract, Joe. He's 13 mil. Somebody else might want him.
Traded tomorrow for sure. Pretty much everyone got traded, that I would say. Are we talking known guy?
Yeah.
Anthony Simons.
I'm going to say Robert Williams.
Okay.
Because Portland has been very quiet. They've been missing all this action.
There's been some talk about Robert Williams going to a contender.
I'm gonna say Cam Johnson's gonna get traded to contender tomorrow.
We have it on tape, so we can't scale back and not say we said it.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Now they could call us out for that. Exactly. That's something they can say. But yeah, we'll just leave it at that. But yes, the Lakers are now in a much more competitive spot. We'll talk that in the days, weeks, and months to come. Is there any more action that's going to be made? We will find out if the Lakers still have one trick left up their sleeve before the trade deadline. I will be here to talk about it. Still Kessler. So it's like Kessler. Just like, okay.
You guys like Kessler so much, just go get the drink.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I drank Kessler. I drank 13 shots of Kessler on my 21st birthday.
I don't know what Kessler is.
You don't want to know. Terrible,
Okay.
terrible alcohol.
All right. And with that, it is. That's a nightcap for you right there.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. One last thing. Super Bowl. One last thing we'll touch on with the Super Bowl. Definitively, who is your pick, Magic Man, for the Super Bowl this Sunday?
I think the halftime show featuring Kendrick Lamar is going to be the best part of that whole Super Bowl, Gerald. My pick for the game, I think Chiefs 27, Eagles 10.
I'd say, wow, I'd say 35 for, no, so I'm going to say 31 for the Chiefs. And I'm going to say 24 for the Eagles. Joe, what do you got?
Chiefs 34, Eagles 31.
Oh, I like that. It could be close. Again, all depends on Hurts. I think if Barkley is still going off, I still think this game all depends on what Hurts will do. I think he's the wild card in all this. But yeah, Kurt, there is a Super Bowl this weekend. A big game indeed. That's where they play all the expensive commercials. But they might actually all switch over to Saturday's game with Luka and Indiana. So there you go. I don't think they'll be charging $8 million per commercial, but they'll still get a nice rate on that. But yes, it is, of course. Go ahead, Sean.
Gerald, I was just gonna say if anybody in the chat or if anybody watching or listening to this, if you happen to see Kevin Pritchard walking the halls of the crypt or in a restaurant somewhere, please play the song Don't Stop by Michael Jackson. And play it over and over again so we could hear it. Because if there was anybody who was more angry than Danny Ainge, it was that prick.
Good question, Kurt. And I always do a show with Josh after the Super Bowl on the best and worst Super Bowl commercials. That's always a fun episode for us. But I say, they've already dropped the Fantastic Four trailer. They already dropped the Jurassic Park trailer. They've already dropped the Superman trailer. So, I mean, they're probably all find space on there. I guess if there's another movie out there that I haven't seen that's the big one that's planned, I guess that would be it, Kurt. But I don't know how many more left. You know, we've seen pretty much all of them that are coming up at major points this year. So I honestly couldn't tell you which one I'm looking forward to now. I was looking forward to seeing Fantastic Four there, but I've already seen it. So,
Joe,
yeah.
you mentioned Pete Alonso earlier in the show. He's the Nerlens Noel of Major League Baseball now. He turned down a 7-year, $150 million deal, and the Mets gave him go
30,
away.
Really, he's gonna opt out next year. It's $54 million, but he's getting 30 up front.
Scott Boras, ladies and gentlemen, Scott Boras.
Yeah, Pete. So Scott Boras has been getting beat up a lot this last few years, and baseball has tightened the purses a little towards guys that are all home runs and no substance, and that's who Pete Alonso is. Essentially, I don't know why I always mess up his name. Santander from Baltimore, who signed with Toronto. He is a younger version of Pete, so he had a little bit more room to get some more money in his deal. And plus, Toronto needed to do something because they've just been getting beat up at the last minute against everybody. The one I'm waiting on right now is Bregman. I want Bregman to go back to Houston, and I want Houston to make one more run to the World Series so that the Dodgers can whoop that ass. I want revenge so bad.
I'm not one for dismissing championships or putting asterisks on things, but they don't deserve that first championship. It should be an asterisk.
There's a lot of people that will say that, and I believe it as well. Unfortunately, the Stitches got the Stitches got their little.
They're known, but they're always going to be known as like the 1909 Black Sox. They're going to be known as cheaters.
They will always be known as cheaters, and that nothing will change. And those guys are chumps, and they'll always be chumps. Correa, Springer, Bregman, that little midget Altuve, all of them didn't earn shit in my book, and they never will. Even the one that they won in 2022 is still a shit title to me.
You think it's tainted? It's
always going to be tainted. Those guys are all bums, and I want them to make one more run next year. Bregman can go back because he's a big part of that. Those bitches. He's a big part of those guys, big part of it. I want the heart of it is Bregman and Altuve. Those are the two little bitches that I want there. Springer and Correa sure have a room there. Gurriel too. Gurriel was a punk too, but I want one more shot at that Houston team, and I want the Dodgers to sweep the shit out of them in the World Series. That would be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate. That would be like the Lakers winning 19, honestly. That's how big that would be. So, yeah.
Invincible Season 3 is tomorrow. Actually, yeah, it is tomorrow. Technically, it might be available right now. Let me go ahead and take a look to see if Invincible Season 3 is available for viewing. I'm going to go ahead and check that out, see if it is. Amazon Prime Video. Go ahead and check that, because I know a lot of people were asking about that as well. I've been following that show. It's had some really good moments, so we'll see if that's the case. But yeah, I know Wednesday was asked about. That's not until September 19th. So yeah, absolutely. I don't see it listed yet, so probably here in a little while it'll be available. But yeah, Invincible Season 3 says for the 6th, so could be available now in some areas. So go check it out.
Gerald, how high do you think the Lakers can finish in the Western Conference now?
How high? Well, let's put it this way: Luka and LeBron probably miss a couple games here and there. Let's put it that way. That's still, again, the fact that Luka's not trying for an All NBA team or anything, and you want to get him ready for the playoffs. He's not going to play the rest of the games, but he is going to be enough to where he's going to get meshing. He's going to find a mesh with LeBron and the rest of the team and Mark Williams and all that.
Third?
I would say third. I would say third is what I would be targeting. Again, it depends on how feisty Denver wants to make themselves. Do they want to just keep on meandering the way they have been, or are they going to do something here in the next few hours that's going to help them as well? But right now, I'd say third is in play for the Lakers. I think Memphis is going to try everything they can to stay in second. Houston is starting to reel and starting to come back to the pack. I think they will be fighting for third with Denver, Magic Man. But then again, that sets them up. That sets them up for a nice run. And again, they will be competitive against anyone in the NBA. Didn't say they will beat, but they will be competitive against anyone in a 7-game series.
Check this out, guys. Check this out. Let's say the Lakers get the third, right? And the top 3 stay the same: Oklahoma City, Memphis, and then the Lakers. And let's say Denver's at 4. The Lakers would let's say if the Lakers can play the Clippers, because the Clippers right now are number 6. So they play the Clippers in the first round. And then Memphis gets upset by Dallas as the 7th seed. Then they play Dallas in the second round. And then Oklahoma City wins, Denver wins. Now those two face each other. the Lakers don't have to go through Denver and Oklahoma City in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if the Lakers end up, now here's another thing I'm going to throw at you guys. Let's say Boston doesn't go back to the finals and it's Cleveland. LeBron playing Cleveland in the finals. No one's thought about that one. That would be that would be.
So, Joe, when are we going to get these olives?
Sorry, Joe, you started talking first.
I'm just talking olives. That can wait. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, no, okay, so that would be interesting, Joe, but I would want the Celtics only because you got our boy last year. We want to get you this year.
Oh, no doubt.
Because Gerald, on top of beating them in their own barn.
Come on, Stephanie, please. I mean, he's a good player, but please don't say shut down Jokic. Please don't start putting that on the kid. He's a really good player, and he's a great piece for the future, and he can play well. I think he's got a nice body to play against Jokic, but yeah, that's asking a lot for the kid. Let's just say that. I'm sorry, Magic Man, but yeah, when people put stuff like that, it's just like Jokic is the best player on the planet for a reason. You know, we start saying this guy's going to shut down Jokic or this guy's going to shut down Jokic. I mean, Jokic then makes you look stupid for saying that.
Nobody's been able to shut down Jokic in the past 4 years. So,
but you can shut down everyone else, or you can outscore and dominate with Luka and LeBron, and Mark Williams can get you a double-double. There you go.
And I was just going to say, Gerald, yes, because I don't think I'd have to look, but I don't think in NBA history there's been a player who lost to the Celtics in the finals and then beat them the next year in the finals.
The Lakers.
No. I'm talking about a player.
Oh,
I don't think there's been a NBA player who's played on a team that lost to the Celtics in the finals and then defeated them in the finals the next year.
I'm not putting that on the kid. If he's part of a good defensive scheme, it'll be a team effort to slow down Jokic.
Yeah,
that's what it takes to slow down Jokic, not one person.
And Gerald, let's be frank, okay?
I don't want to be Frank, Sean. I want to be Joe.
You're Joe.
I miss Frank, by the way.
You're
But
Joe.
I'll just say this: people have been asking about where's Frank ever since the trade, and he has been on We Talk Mavs. Man, that guy has let's just say he's very descriptive in his responses on We Talk Mavs, and I will just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of
expletives.
Yeah, a lot of expletives. He never talks like that with us, and he talks. It's like, whoa! I saw Frank put up some super chats, with the guys that We Talk About. So I was like, whoa, Frank, or as Joe would say, Frank. Yes.
But individual defense, Gerald, is passé. You can't being a great individual defender. It's a lot like being a great cobbler. That's great. You're a great cobbler. You're a great defender. But it takes 5 guys now on the court playing together defensively, rather than, because we've moved into a direction where it's about spreading the floor and drop coverage, and that means 5 guys have to kind of be on a rope together. Very few teams employ zone defense anymore, and very few teams, almost none, I can only think of 2, play man-to-man exclusively. Only OKC and Houston do that. So asking Mark Williams, you can't put a square peg in a round hole. Asking Mark Williams to turn himself into a defensive player of the year is not going to happen. That's not his game. He's a very good defender, but don't ask him to shut down Jokic. And don't
ask anyone to
yeah,
shut down
don't
Jokic.
yeah, you know, don't ask him to shut down Alperen Şengün, and don't ask him about Hartenstein. It takes a whole team with guys that talented.
So, Joe, the last question I have to ask for you for today, as I'm going to go ahead and make a new, I guess, a new JPEG with Mark Williams on it. Before we head it out, my friend, when are we
And
supposed
please,
to
can
be
you put a
eating these
number
olives?
on Luca in the background? That's kind of tacky without a number.
They don't see it anyways. Our
I
faces
see
aren't
it.
going to.
I see it through the pictures.
You can see through anything. Okay, well, whatever.
Don't ever
But
talk
anyways,
back to me in front of people.
I'll talk
Ever.
back to you if I want to talk back
Never.
to you. Damn it! I just said, you know what? Some friend, I should let you eat the olives on your own. But since I'm being a friend,
I'm talking about the
I'm gonna eat
background.
those olives. I'm talking about the olives. When do we have to eat the olives? What did you say? You already got us committed to eating
I got to
the
figure out a
olives. When are we
date.
gonna eat?
Okay. You know what? I
was going to say do it tomorrow. Let's just get it over with.
I don't have time tomorrow.
Well, maybe you guys should do it during the All-Star break.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, we should do it during the All-Star game or break.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
oh wait, hold on.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Gerald Glassford and Joe Soro are eating.
He's gonna figure out every excuse, guys. Not
you
to
son
do
of a bitch!
Oh, I'm gonna eat them, man. I already said I would. I'm gonna do
Look, don't you think you're gonna wiggle your way out of this one, Soro?
I'm not. I promise. I'll do it. Okay. I'm doing it.
Even though technically, Chad, Gerald and Joe did win the bet. They did win the bet.
Yeah, this last 4 days circumvented everything that happened in December. No doubt. And
now,
everybody on Lakers ball was.
Now, wait a minute. Does that include the olives and the juice?
I just said olives.
Juice. Like the brine in it?
No, just the olives.
Well, I think that should be up to the chat.
I don't even know how many I'm supposed to eat. I'm going to have to let everybody decide.
How about a handful?
Okay. I'll see what the Lakers ball is going to decide what they want to do. Gerald, where do you get that? What is this?
Bobby Marks. Bobby Marks makes.
So Bobby Marks always has these?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
ESPN,
really good.
the ESPN graphics have them, and they give them to Bobby. Yeah.
Well, again, it's off of his Twitter. Is where
he doesn't do it himself, Gerald. Come on.
Okay. He said he does. He said he updates it. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he updated just like he updated Mikhail Prokhorov on all those trade machine deals that Prokhorov made.
Stephanie says, Gerald, do you think AD is mad that within 2 days Luka got a big, but AD has been asking for a big and never got it? Yeah, I think he's kind of upset.
Well,
right
you
now.
have to understand, guys. I now that I've had a chance to marinate on this, the Lakers were not going to give up a 31 unprotected pick if AD was still on the team because they couldn't risk the future. Now they don't have to worry about that. They have Luka. They have a 25-year-old. This guy will be an MVP, barring any major injury. He will be an MVP, and he's going to be around for another 10 years. So that pick won't likely hurt the Lakers. And the Lakers, for all we know, might end up getting assets between now and then anyways to make up for it, for all we know. And by the way, guys, who gives a crap about draft picks? The Lakers win championships getting your players. They don't give a shit about draft picks. I told you guys, Andrew Bynum is the last All-Star that was drafted in the last, 40-plus years? Since probably James Worthy. Did Byron Scott ever make an All-Star team?
No.
I'm sorry. Nick Van Exel was the one before.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Or Eddie Jones. Sorry, Eddie Jones.
Yep. Eddie Jones did. Nick Van Exel did. Byron Scott did not.
Yeah. So, yeah.
All right.
No, the Lakers don't need to worry about the draft, except for little spots here and there.
I'm just going to get a little tiny jar of olives. And
I'll let Lakers ball decide. I'll let my guys over there decide how many I should eat. And
you should eat. They're not deciding for what I should eat.
No, yeah, this is on me.
I am going to eat it because I'm your friend and I support you.
What's strange about Byron, Joe, he never made an All-Star game as a player, but he coached All-Star game twice.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah,
Joe's new man crush is Luca. Yes, there you go. Sports.
yeah. They Joe's new man. Guys, I don't do man crushes. I'm a grown ass man. I don't talk like that. No way. You'll never hear me say that word. I don't, man. I love the ladies. I don't even joke around about that kind of stuff. But it's my brother from Australia, so he can say whatever he wants.
Looks like everything is all quiet on the Western Front, guys. I haven't seen any reports here from Twitter in the past,
I think people
half
finally
hour?
went to bed because we're
Yeah.
talking about the East Coast now. The East Coast is too. Sean is up right now, 2:16 in the morning.
All right. And on that note, we need to be up early in the morning for us here on the West Coast because at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, we will be here and available for our NBA Trade Spectacular. I will try to facilitate people coming on the show as best I can. Sean hopefully will join us. Joe will be here. I will be here. So come around.
I'll
Check
be
it out.
I'll be somewhere. I might be on the TTC. I might be on the bus in Toronto with the rest of the homeless. I might be walking down the street and we're chatting about the trade deadline. You just never know what you're gonna find on the Lakers fast break.
You never know.
By the way,
You
the
never know,
chat
indeed.
that we have is awesome.
Yes.
They are the best. They are
that
the best fans that any community could ask for. And we thank you, and we're humbled that you show up every time we're on.
All right, and on
I
that
love
note,
spinach, Darren. Maybe
Yeah.
I might do that. I might eat my spinach with my olives. That will work.
Oh, there you go.
Or maybe maybe that's cheating. Maybe I should do that.
That is
That's
cheating.
Yeah,
That's
you're right.
cheating. That's cheating.
That's like drinking your Sonic at the same time you did the atomic chip. You know, it's like
he did that. He did that.
well, it's on, we have it's on the video.
I
It's on this
know,
channel,
but I don't remember him simultaneously chugging the Sonic drink as he did the chip.
Yeah, he didn't do wait for the burn. He had a Sonic right there.
Yeah, he didn't want to have to go to the emergency room.
Okay, all right.
He's covered his bases. Yeah, honey, you're gonna have to pick me up. I'm in surgery. Yeah, I ate an atomic chip.
I guess somebody died eating that.
Oh my god!
More than one person has died from it. So,
Jesus,
just leave
it's
it at
gonna take
that.
a lot more than a chip to take me out.
Pepper X. That's the thing that if they put that out there, that stuff is lethal, from what I hear. So, Pepper X. That's the hottest on the planet. So,
geez, what is with people and Markelle Fultz? Why do people keep wanting the Lakers to sign Markelle Fultz?
Because
he was the number one pick.
Yeah, he's a
name, and he was a number
someone
one
just said
pick.
Mo Bamba was sign up Mo Bamba.
Well, Mo Bamba got waived. We're not having a Mo Bamba reunion.
Let it play out, guys. Let it play out. Let's see when we go to the trade deadline or the buyouts. Let's see who gets bought out. Maybe there's somebody that could be of interest. Markieff Morris 5 years ago was a buyout that helped us on our way to a championship. I don't think the same is working now for Markieff. Sorry, but again, it's 5 years later. But in theory, we could pick up somebody if they earn $15 million or less, and we'll see what they can have, if they can do to help us. I think we're a lot more attractive now to a buyout person if that's the case. I'll just leave it at that. So let that play itself out. Maybe another trade can happen. Who knows? We've still got a few hours to go, and we'll spend it with you as we cover the trade deadline, as no one else will or probably wants to, but we'll do it for you tomorrow right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.